A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. As the papers continue to headline the murder of Oliver Wilson backstage at the Hamilton Theater just off Broadway, everyone, even remotely concerned with the grim tragedy, is waiting with nervous apprehension for the police to make an arrest. Right now, it's late at night. Nearly everyone has left the theater after the evening's performance. Larry Noble turns out the light in his dressing room and is about to make his way down the silent hall when he finds that he is not alone after all.
Larry, I'm so glad you haven't gone. I suddenly felt so frightened.
I'm just on my way, Claudia. What kept you here so late? I thought you'd be out of here right after the last curtain.
Well, I waited in my dressing room. I don't know why. I just sat there at my dressing table, hardly making a move to take my makeup off. I was thinking about everything. And then I suddenly realized it was late. I hurried out and everyone else had gone. And all of a sudden, I was filled with panic.
Well, you needn't be, Claudia. I'll escort you safely to the stage door.
Oh, very nice of you. But it rather makes me wonder what you were doing back here so late.
Oh, nothing much. Just trying to go over some details in my mind. Thought I'd have a look around backstage.
What for?
Oh, just to get a mental picture of what must have happened the night Oliver was strung up on those ropes up there.
Well, what did you want to do that for?
Why, it's all so muddled in my mind. I want to sort out all the details, Claudia. Been trying to visualize where everyone must have been during those terribly important minutes. I'm trying to figure out how many steps it is from our row of dressing rooms to the wings.
Well, I thought that was up to the police to determine such things.
Oh, so it is? But I want to be darn good and sure just what to answer when they start asking more questions.
You don't think they'll go over that ground again, do you, Larry?
Of course they will, Claudia. This is just a short wait. Maybe it's designed to get someone to start talking. Let them unravel the whole mystery.
And so you want to be very sure that your story is foolproof. Is that it?
I want to know as accurately as possible where everyone was just before Mary discovered the murder.
So that you can throw the blame wherever you see fit. And yet you refused to play along with me when I suggested a perfect story. You wouldn't have any part of that plan. Well, I'd like to know why. It would have protected both of us.
I explained all that, Claudia. There's no use getting involved in a lot of lies. You only get tripped up in the end.
Oh, don't take that tone with me, Larry Noble. Don't try to make me believe you're above such human reactions as trying to save yourself from being accused of murder.
I haven't said any such thing. I only want to find out to my satisfaction what I believe must have happened.
And whoever gets hurt in the process is just out of luck, huh?
Come on, Claudia. We're not getting anywhere. Let's get out of here and go home.
All right, Larry. But don't you forget that I offered to help and you turned me down.
Let's forget it for tonight. Do you mind?
Not at all. I only hope you won't outsmart yourself, Larry.
What do you mean by that?
Never mind.
I'll open the door.
Miss Vincent.
Oh! What do you mean by coming out of the shadows like that? Scaring me to death.
I'm sorry. I've been waiting for you to come out.
Well, what if you have? Just because your idiotic police department decides to have an officer follow me around like a trained dog, is that any reason why I have to adjust my whole schedule to your convenience?
It's nothing like that, Miss Vincent. All I've been waiting for is to ask you to come along and talk to Sergeant Riley.
Sergeant Riley? Well, you don't mean now, tonight?
Yes, miss. He's waiting to talk to you.
I never heard of anything so outrageous. At this time of night? Oh, don't you know that I'm exhausted? I'm tired out, ready to drop. Oh, Larry, can't you say something? Make him understand he can't do this to me.
I don't see that there's much you can do, Claudia. If Sergeant Riley wants to talk to us tonight, then we'd better go along.
Only Miss Vincent, sir.
Well, he'll probably want to see me, too.
Sergeant Riley will send for you when he wants you, Mr. Noble. Right now, he's waiting at headquarters for Miss Vincent. I keep fouling that name up. So if you don't mind, miss...
But I do mind. I mind most terribly. But this is the worst thing I ever heard of. Being taken down like a common criminal. I suppose he wants to prefer charges against me for murdering Oliver Wilson.
Claudia, for the love of heaven, get a hold of yourself. This is perfectly in order. It's nothing to get all worked up about.
Well, I'm glad you can be so calm about it. I suppose you want me to be still so that I won't say anything that might put you in a bad light, huh?
Now, listen, Miss Vincent. It's orders.
Go along, Claudia. If you like, I'll wait for you until you're finished.
No, thank you, Larry. If I have to go through this inquisition, I don't intend to tell you everything that was said. Wait till your own turn comes. All right, officer.
Right this way, Miss Vincent. Won't take us more than about 5 minutes to get there.
After watching for a few seconds, Larry turned the other way and walked rapidly down the street. Meantime, in Sergeant Riley's office at headquarters, a serious conversation is going on with Rupert Barlow's chauffeur, Victor, facing the sergeant across the desk. You hear?
Look, just because I made a couple of mistakes a long time ago is no reason why you gotta figure me for killing that guy, Sergeant. I tell you, I never laid a hand on him.
In that case, you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, it's a good one. Nothing to worry about. With the cops running after me every couple of minutes and dragging me down here for questioning. What's the good of that? I already told you everything I know.
That's what you said. But I wonder if it's true. You know, sometimes, Victor, we forget facts that don't seem important at the time. And yet they may turn out to be vital in a case like this. You just shouldn't have been present at that theater the night this man Wilson was killed. You know enough of such things to realize that everyone close to the scene of a murder will be questioned until the facts have been settled.
Okay, Sergeant Riley, you got me over a barrel. You're using my past against me now, and there's nothing I can do. But I tell you, I didn't kill the guy. If you don't let up, you'll lose me my job.
Your job? You know, that's something else that takes explaining. How is it that a man like Rupert Barlow would employ a man with your record?
Well, I've been working steady. You ask him, and he'll tell you he's never had no reason to complain about it.
I intend to ask him. Now ask everyone else in the Barlow household.
Go ahead. This Julia Dixon will try to turn you against me.
Why should she?
Because she don't like anybody to get along with a boss. She's nuts about him. She's been trying to get him to marry her for more than 10 years. Only he's been too smart for her.
I don't see why that should prejudice Miss Dixon against you.
Because the boss takes me along when he goes away, that's why. Because he gets me to drive the car or run his boat.
And what other duties do you perform, Victor?
How do you mean? I work for the boss and do whatever he says.
So I understand. Even if it takes an act of violence to accomplish the order. Isn't it true that Mr. Barlow keeps you in his employ because he frequently finds himself in situations where it's difficult to fight his way out?
That's crazy.
Oh, is it? Don't your duties toward Mr. Barlow frequently take the form of a bodyguard?
No, sir, they don't. I'm hired as a chauffeur and to run his boat. I do whatever he needs me to do around the house.
What an invaluable fellow you must be.
Boss don't complain.
That's lucky for you. Where you're unlucky, Victor, is being seen backstage at the Hamilton Theater on the night of the murder.
Who says they saw me?
Mrs. Noble saw you across the street that night.
That ain't the same thing.
And Miss Vincent both heard and saw you later on in a bitter quarrel with a murdered man.
Why should I want to bump him off? What reason would I have for a dumb act like that?
Perhaps it was in the line of duty, Victor. It's possible that Mr. Barlow suggested getting rid of the man. And being a faithful servant, you carried out the order. But we'll find out for sure, Victor. And if our guess is correct, you'll be the one that goes to the electric chair, even if it was Rupert Barlow who put you up to it.
Victor's face pales as he returns Sergeant Riley's stare. At this same time in Rosehaven, Long Island, Mary's at home waiting up for Larry's return from New York. As time passes, she keeps walking to the front hall and looking anxiously down the road. And she thinks...
Oh, he said he'd call if he was detained. Surely they wouldn't keep him without letting him call home. And yet it's late. It's much later than he usually gets here. Oh, if I could only see those two car lights approach and turn into the drive. If I could only see Larry coming in the front door. Only to know that he's home, that he's safe for one more night. Larry is so terribly nervous these days. Maybe it's just the strain of waiting, of wondering what will happen to the play. Oh, but that couldn't worry Larry that much. So it must be the murder. And yet, How could Larry be involved in Oliver Wilson's death?
And once again, Mary looks out and sees only darkness. She returns to the living room and picks up the book she has tried to read for the past several hours. Be sure to be listening Monday to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
Ladies and gentlemen, this true story concerns the heart of a great city. It took 58 minutes to resolve the question of its safety or its total destruction. This is the story of those 58 minutes. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, November 15th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were off duty reporting in on an emergency call. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Lynn White, Deputy Chief of Police. My name's Friday. It was 8:25 a.m. when I walked in the Main Street entrance of the City Hall.
Friday?
Yeah, that's right.
You have to take this elevator, Sarge. It's the only one to serve.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to run you up to 16. Chief's waiting for you up there.
Well, what's the pitch? Only one elevator here in service out of 10? The place looks deserted. What's going on?
Well, nobody in the building, Sergeant. All the office people have been sent home. Lots of trouble.
Somebody declare a holiday?
No joke, Sergeant. Big trouble.
Well, you convinced me. What is it?
Here we are. 16th floor.
Okay.
Over here, Friday.
Right.
Hi, Jim.
Hello, Ben.
Made good time.
I came as soon as I got the call in.
Sorry to have to bring you back in. You worked last night, didn't you?
Yeah, midnight to 8 this morning.
Sorry. Come on.
What is it, Skipper? Why on the hush-hush?
Where do we get inside? In here.
Okay.
Number one, let's keep our voices down.
All right.
I'll make it as brief as I can. Every night counts. What time you got, Friday?
8:33.
All right, here it is. 55 minutes ago, a man walked into this building with a homemade bomb under his arm. If we don't release his brother from the county jail by 9 o'clock this morning, he says he'll pull the trigger on the bomb and blow up the whole building.
He's kidding, Skipper.
Well, who is the guy?
Name's Vernon Carney. Here's his package. He and his brother have been in and out of jail since 1937, small-time thieves.
FBI kickback here. We had him once before, both of them.
Brother's name is Elwood, serving a year for car stripping.
And this two-bit thief is sitting here in the City Hall with a bomb on his lap?
That's right, the next room.
And what kind of a bomb is it, Len? You think he's bluffing?
Could be bluffing. The crime lab says no.
Lee Jones from the lab get a look at it?
He's been in here twice. One end of the box is glass. Says he can't see much without a closer look, but you can't get near the guy.
All right, what do you want us to do?
It's a volunteer job. You can take it or leave it. I won't order you to do it.
How do you want to handle it?
You sure you want a piece of this, Romero?
No, he doesn't. He's got a family. Can you get me another single man? We'll give it a try.
Wait a minute, Joe. What makes this job so different? Every time we kick in a door, we never know what's on the other side.
That's what makes it different. This time we do.
No, you're not going to cut me out. Not the only time I know what I'm getting into.
All right. Chandler's tried. Hannon, Davis, Watson, they've all tried. This guy Carney knows what he's doing. He's no pushover, but somebody's got to get that bomb away from him.
Tell baby now.
I looked at my watch. It was 8:36. We left Chief White and started down the hall. If Kearney was going to make good his threat to blow up the building by 9 o'clock, we had exactly 24 minutes to talk him out of it. Ben and I figured we'd better look him over first and then work out some kind of a plan. Maybe just talking to him would do it. Vernon Kearney was sitting in a straight-back chair against the far wall facing the door. He was seated between two windows that looked out over the city. In the center of the right wall was a connecting door leading to the office where Chief White had briefed us. The door was locked on both sides. Just off the center and favoring the left of the room was a small filing table. There was a dictaphone on it. In the near left corner, shielded by a white screen, was a small wash basin. Vernon Kearney sat erect, holding a black box on his lap. He held his right hand inside one end of the box. Ben and I walked into the room. What do you say to a man with a bomb?
That's close enough.
Cigarette, Kearney?
I'm not smoking right now.
What are you trying to prove?
You know what I want.
We're not going to let your brother out of jail.
You've got until 9 o'clock to change your mind. According to that clock up there in the ward, you got 24 minutes.
If we go, you're going with us, Kearney.
Don't take much of a brain to figure that one out, Copper.
What made you think you could get away with this?
I haven't yet. It ain't 9 o'clock. Unless that clock's slow. I haven't checked it against my pocket watch lately. That's the one that's running this show.
You given any thought to all the innocent people that are going to go up with that thing of yours?
My brother's innocent. I want him out of jail.
The court says he's guilty. He'll get out when he serves his time.
That's where you're wrong, Copper. He gets out at 9 o'clock this morning.
All right, come on, Kearney. Get your hand out of that box. Put the box on the table.
You think I'm bluffing, don't you? I'm going to let you get within 5 feet of me before I make a liar out of you.
All right, Kearney. I guess you mean business.
You can take 3 more steps and find out for sure.
Suppose we did let your brother out. We'd just come out and pick him up again, you along with him.
If you could find us.
Let's get this straight. If we let your brother Elwood out, how do we know you'll keep your promise?
What promise? I haven't made any promises. You just get Elwood down here first, then we'll talk about it.
Look, there's just one thing I can't figure, Kearney.
Yeah, what's that?
If we don't let your brother out, you say you'll pull the trigger on that bomb. What are you going to prove by then?
8:37 now. You got 23 minutes left?
No, I wish you'd answer that one for me. Why do you want to kill a lot of innocent people?
Don't try to con me, Copper. I know they cleared everybody out of this building 45 minutes ago. I know they cleaned out the whole block. They got it roped off.
Where'd you get your information?
I got a couple of windows here to look out of. Don't you think it's about time you sent somebody over to get Elwood?
What's to stop us from leaving the building along with the other few officers and let you sit here and touch your fat bone?
Go ahead. Won't be a long wait without you. Who are you trying to kid? You'd let me blow up $10 million worth of taxpayers' money? No, you're going to let Elwood out. You wait till the last minute to do it. But you let him out.
All right, let's go. Lynn, listen.
Yeah?
I'm still not convinced that Kearney can back up what he says.
Well, why don't you take the box away from him?
Yeah.
Well, we're in a spot, let's face it.
How about us getting him first?
How are you going to handle it?
I'm not top man on the pistol range, but I could wing him.
Then he hands the box to you? Or maybe he falls and his reflex action pulls the trigger.
Okay, I don't wing him. I stop him for keeps.
You just can't walk in there and shoot him down.
Why not? You do the same thing with any armed criminal.
Yeah, but you warn him first.
I'll warn him.
And after you shoot him, you find out it's a harmless gadget. Couldn't have gone off in a million years.
No, a gun's not the answer. We can't shoot him until we're positive.
We'll be positive by 9 o'clock, but then there might not be anybody around to shoot him.
We've located Connie's apartment. There's a detail out there checking it now. Bocelli and Morris.
Have you got any ideas at all? Anything we could try?
That's why I called you in. None of us have gotten any further than you did just now.
There's just one thing I want to know for sure.
Yeah, Friday. Is it or isn't it? We all want to know.
Either way, we got to get that box away from him.
I get it. White speaking. Yeah. Did? Now stay out there. I'll call you. That was Bocelli. They just found 28 sticks of dynamite in Kearney's apartment.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker recorded last week in New York.
Hi there. My name is Bab Beckwith. Bab, that's short for Bethany Ann Beckwith. I live in New York City, and I'm a fashion stylist. The other day at a showing of the new fall styles, I ran out of cigarettes. A friend of mine, a designer, introduced me to the new long Fatima. I really wish someone had told me about them sooner. Fatimas are a lot milder than the cigarettes I've been smoking, and they have a delightful flavor, too. I'm very glad to recommend them to you, because I know from experience it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatimas.
And more smokers every day are finding that out. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
We knew now Carney wasn't kidding. We could see into the bomb through the glass window in one end. There was dynamite inside, and there was dynamite in Carney's room. We didn't know if he had the nerve to pull the trigger. We didn't know if it'd go off when he did, but with only minutes remaining, nobody wanted to take the chance. From here on in, all of us agreed that Vernon Carney sat in the next room, holding in his two hands a force powerful enough to destroy us all. I looked at my watch. It was 20 minutes till 9.
How do we get it away from him?
I got an idea. It might work.
What's that?
Well, Carney's sitting against the far wall between two windows, and they're both open.
That's right.
If we could get a man through one of those windows, we might get Carney from behind.
How are you going to get him?
Well, whoever gets through the window could slug him.
What do you do then?
Somebody grabs the box. The crime lab can tell us what to do with it then.
How do we get a man through one of those windows? We're on the 16th floor.
Well, there's some kind of a ledge that runs around the building on each story, isn't there?
Wide enough for a man to walk on?
Let's take a look.
Let's see. Looks pretty narrow, Joe.
A good 18 inches could be done.
Too risky. It's been raining out. That ledge is slippery.
Strong wind out there, Joe. Tear a man right off the building.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
There's still a way. How about a ladder?
16th floor, Skipper.
Well, there might be a way. The fire department would know that. I'll get Battalion Chief Erickson.
There's Lee Jones in the building.
No, he's over at the crime lab. I'll get him up here, too. I don't know, Friday. Maybe it'll work.
It's got to, Lynn.
All right, now look. It's going to take a couple of minutes to set this up. We've got to know what Carney's doing every second of that time.
How about the dictaphone on the table in there?
Good. Get it on without him seeing you.
We'll try.
That dictaphone in there is connected to this one in here. This room is 1614. You got that?
Yeah.
All right, push down key 1614 on that machine in there. And leave it down. Get the receiver off the hook and leave it off.
Leave the receiver off.
That's right. You know, if it isn't off the hook, we won't be able to hear a thing in here.
Right, come on, Ben.
Lynn White speaking. Give me Chief Erickson.
Where's my brother?
Still in his cell.
You coppers are long on talk, short on time.
Yeah, we know.
I'm telling you, if you're on good, you better get Elwood over here.
Carney, I'll bet if we get your brother on the phone here, he'll tell you that he doesn't want any part of this.
You mean Elwood doesn't want to get out? Since when?
Sure he wants out, but not your way.
He's only got a year to serve. Why don't you leave him alone?
I told Al. I told him I'd get him out. He didn't think I could do it, but I'm doing it.
I'll make you a bet, Carney. You let us get your brother on the phone. He won't walk out of here with you.
Get him on the phone.
All right.
Where are you going? Phone's over here.
Have to use the dictaphone. I got to get an okay from the chief. Elwood's still a prisoner.
What's the matter with the phone?
No operators. You know the building's been cleared.
That's right. I almost forgot. Okay, you can use the dictaphone.
It's Friday, Chief. Carney wants to talk to his brother. I know you'll have to send somebody over. Have him put the call on the extension. Wait a minute. What's that extension number, Ben?
2351.
2351, Lynn. Right? It'll take a minute.
All right. I kind of like to talk to Al. Been a couple of months since I've seen him. We've always been together, me and Al, most of the time.
Joe, let's go in and see if we can't hurry that call.
That's a good idea, boy. It's 16 minutes to 9.
Yeah.
Hey, cop.
Yeah.
Forgot to hang up the dictaphone, didn't you?
I put the receiver back on the dictaphone. Ben and I had failed to make good on the first step of the plan. When we got outside the door, we briefed Davis and Watson. I went in to sit with Carney. It would be their job to keep us posted on Carney's movements. The dictaphone was out. We went back into the office next door. Chief Sam Erickson of the fire department and Lieutenant Lee Jones from the crime lab were already there.
Would have been a help. We haven't got time to cry over it.
Carney's wide awake, Skipper. He doesn't miss a thing.
White told us the plan Friday. We can't run a ladder up from the street.
Too high, huh, Chief?
The best we've got is a 100-foot aerial. You figure 12 foot to the story, that'll take you up 96 feet, 8 floors. Mm-hmm. We got the latest equipment.
What's that idea you had, Jones?
Sam, can you get a hold of a pump here in a hurry?
Sure, we got a lot of scaling ladders, but you got nothing up there to hook them on.
You figure on dropping down from the floor above?
That's right, and I figure a pump here would do it.
Sure it would. You could make it past the windowsill up there, but you got a 1.5 foot ledge in the way. No, what you want's a lifeline.
You mean lower a man on a rope, Chief?
Yeah, Romero. That's the quickest and the quietest.
Could you rig it so one of my boys could do it?
Surely.
What's the risk?
None if you work it right. We'll strap on a life belt, give the man heavy leather gloves. 2 of my men will lower him down. Pick your lightest man.
What do you think, Lee?
That's it.
What do we do with the bomb when we get it?
I figure that box Connie's holding is about a foot square. Here's what I'll do. I'll get you a bucket with a 1.5 foot mouth, and it'll be full of water.
Yeah?
I'll have it right outside the door to that office. When you get that box, place it in the water. We'll get the bucket out of the building as fast as we can.
And once we get the bomb underwater, we're in the clear?
I can't promise you that, but it's the safest way to handle it under the circumstances.
All right, that's it. Sam, you take care of your end?
Right away.
I'll get a detail to give me a hand out on the street, and we'll take the bomb to a safe area and decommission it.
Let's move on it.
All right, then.
Which part do you want, the rope or the bomb?
You call it.
Fire Chief Erickson said the lightest man on the rope.
That's me, Joe.
All right, I'll get the bomb out of the building.
Okay, that's the routine. Now carry this with you. The man that comes down that rope has one chance to make good. Slug him and make it count. There's no second try.
Yeah.
And, Joe, when you grab that box, you've got to get it away from Carney before he can squeeze the trigger. Then you've got to get it down the street.
The elevator.
You know how to operate it?
Well, it's pretty simple, but I'll double-check with the operator.
And you better do it right now.
Okay. Say we better get Carney's brother on the phone for him. He seemed anxious.
That might be a pretty good idea.
All right, Romero, that's the outside phone. Get the city jail.
Right, Skipper.
Get going, Friday.
Right. Hey, you, elevator man.
Yes, Sergeant?
I want to see if I know how to work this thing of yours.
You taking over the elevator?
In a couple of minutes. You want to check me out?
Nothing to it, Sergeant. Here's the control. You push this lever right to go up, left to go down. You see this little trigger on the underside of the handle?
Yeah.
That's a safety lock. Be sure you squeeze it. You can't move the lever.
That's all right if I try.
Okay, wait till I turn off the master switch. All right. That's it. Right to go up, left to go down.
Uh-huh. All right, now how do you operate the doors?
Automatic. They work off the control lever. When the control lever's locked in the up or down position, the doors will close.
I got it.
Now, in case they jam, this red emergency button up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, push it. If that doesn't close, then we call a repairman.
Okay, I think I got it. You want to turn that switch back on?
All right. You sure now? I have my orders to get out of the building. I'll just leave the elevator right here and take the stairs down.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Sergeant, just curious. You going to take the bomb down this car?
We're going to try.
You won't have any trouble. We haven't had an elevator failure in 18 months.
The elevator man turned and went down the stairs. I started down the corridor and met Ben outside the office. He told me that Lee Jones and Chief Erickson were on their way up in the freight elevator at the rear of the building with the necessary equipment. The 2 fire department volunteers were with them. The phone call had been put through to the city jail, and in a minute, Elwood Carney would be ready at the other end of the line. We went in to tell Carney.
I told him over at the jail to put the call through on extension 2351.
When's it coming through?
Right now.
You got Elwood with you?
No.
We told you we'd get him on the phone for you. Call will be through in a minute.
A minute's a long time, cop. You've only got 12 of them left.
Elwood's going to talk you out of this.
Oh, sure. Everybody's going to talk me out of this. First it was them other 2 cops, the little porky guy and that other monkey. Then you and this Dixie doughhead here. Now it's Elwood. Now come off it, will you? Get my brother over here.
That's him now.
It's your brother, Connie, I guess.
They put you.
Just going to get the phone. You want to talk to your brother, don't you?
I'll take care of the phone. We'll just disconnect it for a little.
Now get this straight, copper. I'm through with this stinking rotten lion. I want Elwood here and I want him now. Now bring him here before I blow you all to pieces.
Who threw that phone out in the hall?
I did. You want me to go out there and pick it up?
Connie, that's not going to get you anyplace.
Are you the big boss around here?
Maybe.
Are you, aren't you?
I answered you.
All right, big boy, I got a piece of advice for you. You take your rookie cops here and get it through their thick heads. I mean what I say.
I want my brother over here in this room. And you got just 11 minutes to get it done. Now you tell him that, will you?
All right, Carney. Sure. All right, we got to work fast now. Jones, everything set for you?
Got the bucket with the water right here. Car's waiting down the street.
Right. Erickson, your boys ready?
Upstairs, waiting.
We don't know what to do.
I'll need somebody to give me a hand with Carney when he falls.
I'll be in there with you Friday.
Ready to go upstairs, Chief?
Anytime. One thing you ought to know.
What's that?
Wind's getting stronger, about 20 mile an hour out there right now.
That's going to last us up?
No, but it's going to increase the sway. Got to allow for it.
How do you mean?
Wind's coming from the south. We'll lower you just to the right of the window. If I figure right, the wind will do the rest. Bigger risk, but we don't control the weather.
How you going to do it, Ben?
As soon as I get in position, I'll reach in through the window on his right, and I'll use the billy. Try to catch him on the right side of the head. One good hit should put him away.
Make it two and be sure, huh?
All right, you ready, Chief?
Let's go.
What's the time, Friday?
8:50.
Shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes for Romero to get down to that window unless the wind gives him trouble.
Jones, there's no use you sticking around.
I'll get Friday again.
That's my job. We got to keep you alive to decommission the bomb.
Bum Joe. See you downstairs.
You ready, Lynn?
Yeah. Scared, Friday?
Yeah.
Makes us even. Come on.
Lynn White and I went into the next room with Vernon Carney. Ben was going to make a try from the window on Carney's right. Somehow he had to keep his attention on us and away from that window. If anything went wrong and Carney got out of position, the plan had failed. If Chief Erickson didn't estimate the force of the wind correctly, the plan had failed. I looked at my watch. It was 8 minutes to 9.
Carney, anything we can say that'll make you change your mind?
I've asked you 100 times. Now I'm ordering you. You're going to get to a phone and have somebody send Elwood over here right now. I'm through waiting. Now move.
You ripped the phone out, Carney.
Well, then find another one. I told you, I'm sick of your two-bit stalling.
We've got until 9 o'clock to make up our mind about this.
You had until 9. You wouldn't do what I told you. Now I'm cutting you short. You guys got exactly 1 minute to get a phone in this room where I can hear you call a jail and have him send Elwood over here.
You said 9, Carney.
All right, Joe. We'll give him what he wants.
Davis, unlock the connecting door to this office.
I'll get the phone, Lynn.
The cord reach?
Sit down. Yeah.
Your brother's a prisoner. He's in our custody and he's under our protection. We can't place his life in jeopardy.
Leave that up to Al.
Kenworthy, this is Lynn White. We want Elwood Carney over here at City Hall. His brother wants to see him. Explain the situation. If he wants to come, get him over here. Leave it up to him. Room 1614, you'll have to use the freight elevator.
And tell him to hurry.
Yeah. Tell him to hurry.
Oh, that's the only smart thing you've done today. Now, why don't you go next door and figure out another angle?
We'll wait for Elwood, too.
You don't think I'd let you get out now, do you? We're all going to wait right here for my brother. In case he don't show up, you're going to see me pull the plug. Now, sit down. Not so close, right where you are. Sit down. It's a loud clock, isn't it? It's windy. It's getting cold in here. Maybe I ought to close the window.
Turn on the heat.
Stay put, cop. What's that? What's going on?
Just the wind,
Cop! There's somebody out there. I can see his feet. You stupid cunts! Pull him up! Get back there! You pull him up!
Righty, tell him to pull him up.
Pull him up! Pull him up!
All right, Carney. You win.
You bet I win, you dumb coppers. You didn't think I'd miss a trick like that. Now we'll just close the windows, boys. There's one. And locked.
Here's your brother, Carney.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hi, Vern. You did it.
I told you. I'd do it, didn't I? That's far enough for the rest of you. Al, you come on over here.
Crazy, Vern. You're crazy.
That's what they've been trying to tell me. We're going home, Al.
How you gonna do it? There's a million cops outside. People all over town heard about this. They're holding the crowd
They
back.
ain't gonna stop us now.
You'll never make it, either one of you.
I got him this far, didn't I? We'll make it.
Vern, do you think we could do it?
You,
Yeah?
you're gonna get a car ready for us, a fast one. Have it in front of the building.
Move.
All right, Friday. Do what he tells you.
Right.
Hold it.
Yeah?
If you ain't back by 9 o'clock, the deal still holds. I told them I'd pull the pin at 9 now if they didn't let you out.
You ain't fooling, are you, Vern? That gadget really blow?
4 miles high.
They won't let you pull it. We're getting out.
All right, copper, get the car. You got 4 minutes.
Hey, Ben!
What happened? He spotted me?
Yeah, no time to explain. Now, listen, we got to work fast.
Yeah?
We had to bring Carney's brother over from the jail.
How much time we got?
Less than 4 minutes.
How about the ledge?
Think you can do it? Strong winds, you'll have to hang on like a fly.
I don't know. I can give it a try.
Okay, same plan. Every second counts. Now, I can't brief Lynn. He's in the room with the guy. It's up to you and me.
I'll get on the ledge from one of these offices. I hope I'll make it.
If you don't, we'll know you tried. Now, hurry. Hey, Ben, wait a minute.
Yeah?
I forgot. The window's the one on his right. He locked it. You'll have to crawl around the one on the left. You got it?
Right.
Okay. Car will be ready in 2 minutes out front.
Fine. Ella and I will just sit here and wait. It's going to be good being back together, well.
We always were real good together, Vern.
Well, that's the way. Brothers ought to be together all the time.
Yeah, Vern, I'd feel better with the gun.
We don't need no gun. We got the bomb.
We need a gun when we get out. When we get on the road.
Okay, take your pick. They all got him. You, give him yours.
I'm not carrying a gun. I left it in the other room.
A cop without a gun? Who's kidding who?
I left it in the other room.
First the big boy, though. He's got one. It's about time for that car, ain't it? It's 2 minutes to 9.
Yeah, this feels like it right on his hip.
Grab him, Joe. I got him. Get the box.
Leave that guy alone.
I got him, Ben. I gotta get his hand out of it.
Run, Joe. Get in the water. Run!
Fast elevator, 16 floors isn't very much, but I never shared an elevator with a live bomb. It seemed like hours between floors. I kept watching the bucket. The bomb was completely underwater. A small stream of bubbles was hissing to the surface. I waited. Main floor. I picked up the bucket and ran for the street. I missed the first step. I fell forward. The bucket spun out of my hand. I sprawled flat on the sidewalk. I waited for the explosion.
It didn't go off, Friday.
Yeah. I gave it a good chance, Lee.
It was all there. Look, at least a dozen sticks of dynamite. Snyder, bring that over here.
Here you are, Lieutenant.
Thanks. Here's why it didn't go off.
Yeah?
Had it rigged for a hard trigger pull. Would have taken a good yank to set this one off.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Ben.
Clumsy.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 15th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Extra Mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Vernon Carney was examined by 5 different psychiatrists appointed by the Superior Court and found to be mentally incompetent. He is now confined in the State Mental Institution for the criminally insane. Elwood Carney is now serving the balance of his sentence with no time off for good behavior.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Next, Sarah's Private Caper with comedian Sarah Berner on NBC.
a day and expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Jack Webb is Jeff Regan, Investigator. Hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the man who lived by the sea.
The next time you're out for a drive, pick up Olive Street along about the 700 block. You can't miss it. It's a big building made out of white granite. The Cosmopolitan Building. Anthony J. Lyon, the guy I work for, rents an office there. International Detective Bureau, Suite 308. A couple of rooms with a connecting wastebasket. The Lion has the only desk in the office and the typewriter that Remington dropped from their catalog back in 1915. I walked in about 11 o'clock last Tuesday morning. The room was loaded with taboo. She was a tall girl with a flock of black hair and a mink coat. The kind you see driving a Nash convertible down Sunset Boulevard on warm Sunday afternoons. No wonder the Lion's cigar was out. It was wet on both ends. He had one arm around her shoulders. He knew by this time that coat was the real article. There wasn't any music, but he didn't seem to mind.
Come on in, Regan.
Not much room to dance.
We got business.
She's your date.
This is Mr. Regan, Miss Kara.
How do you do, Mr. Regan? Mr. Lyon tells me you're just the man I want.
Well, he said the same thing to a mortician last week.
Miss Kara is associated with the famous psychic consultant, Prince Nemo.
I help the prince look into people's minds.
Well, that ought to be fun if all your customers are under 6.
You don't believe in thought transference, Mr. Regan?
Do you?
Prince Nemo sent Miss Kara to retain an operator.
Why didn't he come himself?
Prince Nemo never appears in public.
He misses some good ball games.
He has television.
Yeah.
The prince prefers to spend his time in meditation and thought. I handle all of his outside contacts.
Regan, I want you to drive out to Prince Nemo's home in Ocean Town with Miss Kara and speak to the prince.
What kind of a retainer did he send you?
We don't discuss finances in front of clients.
Oh, this is another blind spot. You don't know what this guy wants?
He said it's a very delicate matter, and he wants to explain it to you himself.
Oh, sure. She waltzed in here with a check, and you'd sell your grandmother to a glue factory for $2.
Is there any way I can reassure you, Mr. Regan?
Buy me a battleship.
You got a license and a contract with International.
You want to tell me about it, lady?
Prince Nemo was very excited this morning. He called me in and told me to make the arrangements.
It's not enough script.
He never tells me anything. I just work for him. Will you please?
Yeah, all right.
Here's a nickel. Call me and tell me what's up.
Suppose I can't.
Then you got something for your piggy bank.
The Lion stood there and watched us leave. He looked happy, like a hobo in a bubble bath. Well, we went downstairs. We climbed into her convertible. The guy in the parking lot had to take a walk around the block when she flashed him a smile. I asked her about lunch. She said no. I asked her about dinner. She said something that meant no. It's like that sometimes. The flag's up, the meter's ticking, and you get nowhere. But from a couple of things she told me, I got the idea that she was doing more than help the prince read minds. His place turned out to be a good hour from Los Angeles up 101. A couple of stories of glass and concrete leaning out over the ocean. Inside, a guy in a white turban and some pants that looked like oversized diapers put his hand on a big curved knife he had in his belt. He was wearing tennis shoes.
Right this way, Mr. Regan.
Butcher?
That's Jeannie, the prince's manservant. He's from India.
I bet the Indians were glad to get rid of him.
Jeannie's harmless, tongueless, and he doesn't hear. I like you, Mr. Regan. And this is the prince's study.
Come in. Oh, come in.
This is Mr. Regan.
Of course. Welcome, sir. Welcome. The Lion's Eye. I'm honored, sir. Please sit down. That'll be all, Lena?
Of course. I'll be in my office.
Charming girl, Lena.
She handle all your outside contacts?
Except for those matters I must attend to personally. Mr. Regan, I'm in trouble.
It's paid for.
I want you to save my life.
You look healthy.
I am healthy, let me assure you. But my life has been threatened.
They got police department.
I thought you understood. This is a delicate matter. We aren't here to discuss me.
Who's the guy?
It's a lady, Mr. Regan. A very beautiful and lovely creature. And she'd like nothing better than to see my carcass go out with the tide.
How do you know?
She's erratic, ill-tempered, and ruthless.
Any more?
Yeah, she called me this morning and told me what she intended to do.
You got a chance to reach for your gun.
To reach for you, Mr. Regan. Now, I feel the entire matter could be settled amicably if you were to call on her and inform her you are my personal bodyguard and that you are here to protect my life.
What makes you figure she'd go for that?
It's worth a try. And besides, I'm paying.
Mm-hmm. Now tell me how long you've been blackmailing her.
Blackmail? What do you mean?
Oh, your racket might last 6 months, a year, but not long enough to build a place like this. The answer's blackmail.
My dear fellow, Okay, so I should have told you.
Give it to me.
Well, I can slip them into a trance. They spill a family secret or two.
What kind of secret?
Any kind. They want their minds read. I read them. $25 a hit.
Where does the shakedown come in?
When I tell them what they told me.
You been putting a squeeze on her?
She's an actress. She was in on a deal at the studios.
And she won't shake.
She said she'd blow my head off. Look, I'm in a spot, Regan. She's the kind who'd do it and make love to the jury.
Give me a name.
Doris Patrick. Ever heard of her?
Where's she live?
Palisades. Here's her address.
All right.
You going over to talk to her now?
Well, she isn't gunning for me.
Oh, thanks a lot, Regan. You know, I've been sweating.
It's real good for a cold.
Yeah, I'll try and catch one.
You guys yell real loud when they answer back.
I'm just thinking of my future, Regan. I won't look good dead.
I left him sitting there scratching his bald head under his turban. He looked unhappy, like somebody fed him a Vaseline sandwich. Well, I climbed in my car and I followed the highway to the turnoff back to Sunset. The Malibu fog was coming in for the winter, and by the time I got to the address Nemo'd given me, I was looking around for my hands. Doris Patrick's place was too big for a marble game and too small for football. There was a wire fence all around it and a sign every 15 or 20 feet or so that said, "Not to trespass." I parked in the boulevard and walked up the driveway. It was about then that a guy in a blue suit showed up. He was tall and heavy, and he thought a lot of his hat. He pulled down on the brim, blew smoke in my face, and kind of nudged me with his shoulder.
Move on, Pilgrim. We don't want any.
How do you know?
We're waiting for the 49s. Scram, huh?
You aren't even on the list.
All right, we'll wait for the 50s. Blow.
I came to see Doris Patrick.
Yeah, what for?
You, her?
Sure. What do you want?
Business.
Shop closed.
You always like this, or you missed lunch today?
Look, I don't know who you are, Pilgrim, but you don't understand English.
Well, I know you. There's something about a guy in a lineup.
Yeah?
He memorizes easy.
Cop?
Private.
Private or city, you all smell the same to me.
Hunting season's over. You always carry a .38, do you?
Oh, that's showing?
Well, maybe you got a broken rib.
Well, I met all kinds of funny guys.
I said I wanted to see her.
Ain't in.
Watchdog?
Now you're getting smart.
Well, you aren't.
What kind of crack is that?
Just this. I'm going in.
Trick I learned a long time ago. You shoot a guy in the knee and he don't ever walk straight again.
Ever done it, punk?
Oh, sure. That's how I learned.
Mm-hmm. That's when I learned, baby. He slumped against the side of the wall, and he looked tired, like he'd been running from Compton. Well, I left him there, and I went up the driveway to the porch. Coming around a blind corner, I bumped into something that kind of relaxed and rolled into me. It was a blonde girl, about 25, in a white polo coat. I was willing to try it again, but she began talking with a voice that was deep enough to go in the oil business.
Oh, I thought you might be running interference, but you look like the whole team.
Whose side are you on, lady?
I keep score.
Doris Patrick?
You're on the right field.
Where's the locker room?
Maybe I like you. Where do you come from?
Right here.
Didn't know we raised your kind anymore. Or did you go wild?
Do I pass?
What'd you say your name was?
Regan.
Welcome.
Mm-hmm. Which highway?
Straight ahead. To the den.
Nice place you got. When's harvest time?
I said welcome.
That isn't what the tall boy said.
Tall boy?
A blue suit with a .38 and a hat.
That'd be Jesse. I was married to him once.
What about now?
Oh, he hangs around like that sometimes. I never see much of him. Trouble?
No, not much.
You got a lot of size, mister. Must have been good. Do that kind of thing often?
Only when I have to.
Sit down. How do you like it? Soda or water?
Your way.
There now. Isn't that better?
I don't know. This is my first drink.
You'll get another. It's a cold day.
Nothing here.
You're quick. Must have a good straight man.
His name's Prince Nemo.
Must we talk about him?
He thinks you're dangerous stuff.
What do you think?
Right now or when I'm a couple of feet away?
Now.
Hey, now look, remember me? I just got here.
Your name's Regan, and we're going to get along.
Yeah.
It's in the cards.
You got a fast deck.
Go ahead. Deal.
All right. How much time between rounds?
Yes? Who? Oh, just a minute. You know somebody named Lion?
Yeah.
He has quite a roar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the name? Where's the phone?
Nemo's friend.
Sounds like he's a friend of yours.
All right, you got something to say?
It's all off.
Check bounce?
It was certified. Nemo called 10 minutes ago and canceled the contract.
Now, what happens now?
Finished, come back to Auburn.
Who told you I was here?
The Prince.
It was a quick change.
We got paid.
Well, I already started something.
I don't care what you started. You finish it on your own time and expend sheet.
Bad news?
Well, I'm through working for the day. Well, I was an old friend of the family when I left. She didn't want me to go, but I was thinking about Prince Nemo and the way that nothing made sense. Oh, the whole thing looked phony, like an undertaker in a white derby. It didn't take 20/20 vision to see that somebody was getting anxious to make a play. Well, by the time I got home, I figured I was out of it. But my company had other ideas. It was Jesse, and he had friends.
You should lock your door, Regan.
Why? You'd crawl under.
All right, fellas.
Friends?
I just hired him.
You got a parade permit?
Stan, say hello to Regan.
Hello, stupid.
What about Skinny?
Hiya, Grogan.
Name's Regan. He's a detective. Isn't that right? You're pretty good with your women, Regan.
You know, you look lonesome, Jesse. You got something to say?
Stay away from it.
You're shaking. You want a drink?
Already had one. Stan, Skinny, set him on a bed.
Let go.
Oh, Regan, once more. Once more. Stay away from it.
You said that before.
I want to make sure you understand. Stan, Skinny, hold his arms. I've said all the right words. Maybe my punctuation's bad, huh? Lay off. Period. Lay off. Period. Lay off. Period. Okay. Okay, leave him on the bed.
Hey, he rolled off.
Oh, that's fine. Fine. Now he won't have to change his sheets.
Oh, Jesse was good. When I got up, my face looked like a relief map of Pasadena. He was wearing a signet ring. He left out some of the boulevards, but the Rose Bowl was right out in front. I found a drink in the cabinet, and I started for the mirror to see what was left. It was about then I heard a knock on the door. It was a little guy in a cab driver's suit. It figured that he got the job because they ran out of big uniforms. They double-crossed him on that cab. If it wasn't for his ears, he'd have been wearing a snood.
Hiya.
Yeah?
Football?
What do you want?
Your name, Regan.
That's what it says on the mailbox.
I met a friend of yours today.
Get to the point, will you?
A dame. Named Lee McCarra. Yeah, Lee McCarra. Come to this.
All right. You're in the register.
Wait, that ain't all. She wants to see you.
What about?
Didn't say. Just said to see if you was home. You home?
Yeah.
I got her down in my cab.
We'll send her up.
I don't think she can make it.
What do you mean?
She looks kind of funny. Maybe you better come down.
She was sitting on the edge of the seat, staring out at nothing. Her back was as stiff as a filing cabinet, and there was a little ring of white around her lips. I paid off the cabbie, and I took her back up to my place without a word. When we closed the door, she was sitting on my sofa the same way. Only this time she had a .25 automatic in her hand.
Well? Well?
Where'd you get the gun, lady?
Gun? Oh, this? I bought it for $30.
Can I see it?
Oh, yes, Mr. Regan. I brought it so I could show it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I paid $30 for it. Paid $30 for it.
Yep. Brand new, isn't it?
Oh, yes, of course. Did you know Prince Nemo was my husband?
Since when?
Long time now. Not many people know that.
Did you come here to tell me that?
No. No, I came to tell you that you don't have to worry anymore.
About what?
Not what my husband hired you for.
Well, I've already been called off.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did you meet Doris Patrick?
Yeah?
Then it was about her.
What do you want, lady?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Just that we don't have to worry anymore, do we?
Tell me about the gun.
Doris is very pretty, don't you think? I've seen her on the screen many times. And she's quite pretty. Could hardly blame the prince at all. Could hardly.
Why'd you bring the gun?
I imagine the air would be cleaner there, don't you?
What are you talking about?
Really very humane, they tell me.
Come on, stop it.
Just like sitting down and never waking up. I read all about it. Just walk in and sit down. You don't try to hold your breath.
Stop it, sis, stop it. Now listen to me. What is it? What have you done? What are you trying to say?
You don't try to hold your breath. You go right to sleep, don't you?
You're trying to tell me that you killed him?
They don't make such a great deal of noise, do they? He's been sitting there in his house by the sea. He looked very much alive, only... He isn't alive at all. Tell me, Mr. Regan, tell me. Do I make a good murderer? Do I?
Well, after she got through screaming, she settled down to a slow, even kind of giggle that started somewhere around her shoelaces and didn't get past her knees. Gave me a feeling like somebody was unwrapping an atomic bomb under a Christmas tree. Well, she wasn't going to do any more talking, so I went downstairs and brought back a doctor friend of mine named Sammy Wing. He had his little black bag with him, and he gave her a shot of something. She wilted like last night's orchid and went to sleep. Sammy wrote down a couple of things, and then he looked up at me.
Some playmate. Wish I'd have been here for the party.
How is she, Sam?
You know her better than me.
Oh, is she going to be all right?
In 4 or 5 hours, she'll wake up and want some water.
And then what?
She might ask you what happened, or it might start all over again. By the way, what was it?
I don't know. She came over to see me.
I should have visitors like this. I've been working too hard.
She said she killed a guy who was a client of mine.
Maybe I'm lucky at that. Why the past tense?
The Lion called me off the case.
Official, huh?
Yeah.
You've got nobody to protect. Where's the corpse?
At a house in Ocean Town.
Here, call the police. And you and me can go out and do our Christmas shopping.
Oh, she said she used this gun.
A .25, it killed people.
No, Sammy, there's a bullet jammed in the chamber.
James don't know how to reload.
It hasn't been fired.
Ballistics got better ways of telling. She's pretty and she's nice, and I'll bet she looks like $1 million in a bathing suit. But if I'd have met her within the last 3 hours, I'd have run for help.
Is that professional?
Acute hysteria. The kind that pops off guns and people and does a lot of things they can't remember later on. Call Sanducci.
Look, it doesn't figure she'd do it with this.
Maybe she had another one. While you're at it, call the coroner. Tell him to go out there with some DOA forms.
No, I'm going first.
Corpse hunt?
Just an idea.
Labrucherie had an idea.
Yeah.
This dame's dipped somebody, and she's told you her story.
Well, I don't like it.
What do they do when a private eye messes up an open and shut murder case?
Sammy, stay with her, will you? There's some bourbon out in the kitchen.
Maybe both of us will get our pictures in the papers.
I left him sitting there. He looked sad, like a water buffalo caught in a drought. I pushed through the fog for about 40 minutes, and I pulled up in front of Nemo's place in Ocean Town about 9:30. It was dark enough to give a ghost the creeps. I used that ring of keys that I'd taken from her purse, and I went inside. It smelled dry and still, like somebody was waiting for the world to fall apart. I clicked on my flash, and I walked down the long hall to his office. Well, he was there, just like she said. And there were 3 holes in the front of his shirt, close range, but it wasn't the laundry's fault. He'd been dead maybe 2 hours. The desk drawer showed some canceled checks made out to Doris Patrick. While I was thinking that over, I spotted a .38 Smith & Wesson on the floor by his hand. Lynn had been carrying a .25. I broke it, and 3 cartridges fell out. From the looks of the holes in his chest, the .38 was the gun for the job. Well, that made her story and the .25 a fairy tale. While I was kneeling there, a light went on behind me. A fat man wearing a sheriff's star was standing by the switch. A tall leather jacket with a flashlight in his hand was in front of me. I began to feel helpless, like a trombone player with a short arm.
Scavenger hunt, son? You don't talk, Charlie.
Ain't much for him to say, is there, Cap?
Yes, not. Well, son?
You You're going to be calling me names.
What do you like best? Killer, murderer, slayer? Papers use slayer a lot.
I don't like any of them.
Kind of breezy for a hot boy, ain't you? You might give me a name?
Regan. I'm with the International Detective Bureau.
It's Regan, Cap. He's with the International Detective Bureau. Got a card or something, son?
Yeah. Here.
This guy here, a friend of yours?
My client, Lawrence.
What'd you do for him? Okay, tell me this. Why'd you plug him?
There's another story.
Any good?
Better than the one you got.
You'll have a hard time selling it.
It's a fix.
Oh, why you want to say a thing like that?
How long you been on the force?
Easy, Regan. Me and Cap's being nice. Phone call a little while ago. Funny kind of voice. Said we'd find a stiff here. But didn't say we'd find you. Yeah, you're extra.
The dame who worked for him told me.
You tell homicide?
No.
That was a mistake. Where's this girl now? Name? Charlie. Call a coroner. Ocean Town is just a small place. Only me and Charlie around. We borrow from the county when we get something like this.
Well, I can find you a real answer in an hour.
You got ideas?
Lots of them.
You can tell me all about them later. We got a corpse, we got a suspect. You know that's good. Even a weapon.
I'll have an alibi when you check the time of death.
We'll worry about that later on. All right, sir. Let's go.
Well, I had about as much chance as an elephant in a tea room if those two locked me and booked me. I leaned back into his gun, spun around, knocked his wrist down. He pulled the trigger. But I'd already hit the light switch, and he was making rockets in the dark. I left my car there and cut across the highway and doubled back up the hill. They spread out in the wrong direction. An hour later, I was standing in front of the lion's door. He was wrapped in a bathrobe big enough to keep all the silkworms working overtime.
What do you want, Regan?
Information.
You been drinking?
I've been working.
Lena Harris here?
You sent her.
She called me and said she wanted to hire you for something else.
After Nemo canceled the contract.
Yeah, why?
You gave her my address.
I thought you ought to talk to her. What she want?
She told me that she killed the prince.
She can't do that. We got a contract.
Well, it's already been done.
We're in a spot.
Yeah, I figured that'd get through to you.
They'll be asking me all kinds of questions.
Well, why didn't you think of that before you signed?
What are we going to do?
You're going to find out where this 25 came from and if anybody fired it.
Huh?
She was carrying it when she came to me.
I don't want to get involved.
Well, you're in it up to your ears. I went out there and found the prince. Only a 38 might have done the job.
Yeah? Well, that cleans her up.
Not yet. The Ocean Town sheriff and a guy named Charlie are looking for me.
What for?
They think I know something.
Do you?
Not yet. There was a tip-off. Somebody was supposed to be a patsy.
Where's Kara now?
My place with Sammy Wing.
I'm going to get a lawyer. It'll look good.
All right, give me the keys to your car.
Why?
I got a date.
Find out who fogged Nemo and we won the championship.
Yeah. You'll have to give the cup back. You cheated. I drove back out to Doris Patrick's place in the Palisades, and I rang the bell and waited. Took her a while, but she showed. She was wearing a filmy kind of a thing that made a spider's web look like canvas. I began to feel warm, like a sun lamp on a picture set.
We had a date at 9 o'clock.
I broke my watch.
Come in, I'll see if I can fix it. I'm great with a swift movement.
Yeah, it shows.
We were going to look at the stars together.
How long you been here?
Well, I gave you up at 10. Tell me, how do you like my new dress?
It's the right color, but the wrong cut for a funeral.
I haven't read the obituaries today.
No, it'll be in tomorrow's paper.
Have a drink and let's wait for tomorrow.
Your friend Nemo was killed tonight.
He was no friend of mine. I told you that.
So did he.
You fall off his house?
Murdered.
We've been having fun up to now.
You know, you'll be first guess.
I don't think I like that.
He tried to blackmail you.
The story's backwards.
Well, that's the way it comes out.
Not quite.
You got another way?
He never tried to blackmail me.
Mm-hmm.
I blackmailed him.
How?
I went to him one day and put him in a trance. Only I used scotch. I found out what he was doing and how he was doing it, so I turned the tables. It was good, clean fun, but expensive for him.
Well, now, if he was your meal ticket, then you have an alibi, huh?
Could be canceled checks somewhere.
Right where I could find him.
I'm telling you the truth.
Where does Jesse fit?
Oh, I told you we were married once. He's jealous.
Did he know about Nemo?
Maybe.
He was watchdog when I came out.
I told you. Jesse.
Hello, gorgeous. I still have a key.
What do you want?
You.
Get out.
The still trapping with his trap?
Just in time, Jesse.
You know, you didn't list good. I told you to lay off.
Where's your friend?
Paid off? I'm handling this alone.
We've been finished for a long time.
Oh, it's starting up again, Angel. Or didn't you know Nemo was dead?
I saw your 38 tonight, Jesse.
Ah, you're wrong. It's her 38. It's got her prints in it.
What do you mean?
I put him there. And you're going to be tagged for his murder, ain't you? You see, you're sort of in a spot.
Regan.
Easy, baby. This punk never did anything right.
Oh? Tell me how wrong I've been.
All right, that tip to the Ocean Town cops was wrong. Killing Nemo was wrong.
Ah, you're twisted, Pilgrim. Cops got a warrant out for you right now. Yeah, I heard it on the car radio. Murder suspect. Plugging you is something they'll thank me for.
With her prints on the gun?
Well, how was I to know? I just see you and plug you. Everybody will be sorry, but it'll be manslaughter and suspended. It's pretty right, isn't it?
Well, what about me?
A friend of mine shoving off at Pedro tonight, Angel. Going all over the world. We'd be together. Well, Angel, do I plug it and meet you somewhere in 2 weeks, huh? Move over, Regan. The lady's making up her mind. Now, what do you like?
Oh, it was a real photo finish. Just as Jesse set the gun up against my head, Doris pulled a gun from the desk drawer and threw a couple of fast ones into him. Jesse tried for her. I'd call it a dead heat, but you'd have to give Doris the edge. Her first slug cut him down like a blade of grass, but she didn't give up. He's all used up.
Never shot anyone before.
You look like a professional. Give me the gun.
He deserved to die. Didn't he? Didn't he?
I don't know, lady. You knew him better. Well, it all unwound like red thread in a Levi factory. Nemo told me his phony story so he'd have a good self-defense angle when he finally got around to killing Doris Patrick some afternoon. Jesse worked for him to keep me out, but I bounced him and got inside. When Jesse phoned Nemo about it, Nemo called the Lion and had me jerked before we could compare notes. I guess Jesse went kind of crazy when he saw how well we got along. He got an idea and killed Nemo and made Doris a patsy with those fingerprints. Lena Cara? Well, she went kind of crazy, too. She found Nemo dead and got the idea she did it. It took 3 doctors a couple of days to tell her what really happened. And the Lion was mad when he found out there wasn't any money in it. But then when he saw Doris Patrick's picture in the paper, he got kind of curious. He asked just one question. What did I do all that afternoon I was out in her house? Well, I didn't even bother to answer him.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. The story of the man who lived by the sea returns tonight by special request and was written by E. Jack Newman, produced by Sterling Tracy. In tonight's cast, the role of Doris Patrick was played by Yvonne Patey. Also heard Sidney Miller, Peggy Weber, Paul Frees, Marvin Miller, and Barry Crozier. Music for this program is by Milton Charles.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to a robbery detail. A holdup has been committed in a neighboring city. A bystander is shot to death. 2 others are wounded. The bandits are ruthless, well armed. Your job? Get 'em.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, October 6th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Ed Walker. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from Calvary Cemetery. It was 11:45 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail.
No, it's all right. Joe, how'd the funeral go?
Pretty good turnout.
Sure sorry I couldn't make it.
Well, one of us had to be in court.
Yeah. A lot of the boys out there, huh?
Yeah. Martin had a lot of friends. He was a good cop.
You see his wife?
Yeah.
Wife took it hard again.
Pretty hard, yeah. Are you about ready for lunch?
Better make up the logbook first, man. We're a little behind.
Yeah, all right.
Hi, Stu.
Ben, what's with you?
Oh, it's the same old thing.
Say, what's the DR number on that job we handled yesterday? The grocery store thing? You know, we showed those mug shots to the victims. You remember the DR number on it?
Oh, yeah, I got it here. 374332.
332. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir?
My name's Frank Cheney. Just been paroled from Folsom. Can you tell me where I registered?
Yeah. I'll get one of the men from the rehabilitation detail. He'll take care of it.
Okay, thanks.
Excuse me, Ben. No, yeah.
Bossford. Johnny Bossford? Yeah. Got a minute? Something for you here.
I'll be right back.
Did you contact the witnesses in this report here?
Let me see.
This one.
What do you got?
Oh, yeah, I took
I'll
care
over
of
at
it.
the desk once the register's next time.
Okay. Excuse me, Romero.
Yeah.
Hi, you want to register? Yeah, my name's Frank Cheney. Okay. Address? 218 Belgrade. Belgrade. Where you been? Folsom. Got out Saturday. Okay, what'd you fall for? Robbery, first degree. How much do you owe? Served 18 years. I'm on life parole. Life parole. Okay.
Hey, Thaxter, you want to tell Rombo we're out for 7?
Wait a couple minutes, huh? See the guy at the desk, the one with Bosberg?
Yeah, he's an ex-con. Why?
Frank Cheney, 1931. Jack Taylor and I had him. First big one we ever drew.
That's so.
Did you ever hear of him? Used to call him a gentleman bandit.
1931, Claude. That's 18 years ago.
Cheney was the biggest of them. Came from a wealthy family, too. Father's a millionaire.
You sent him up, huh?
San Quentin. Tried to break out with a partner of his. Partner killed a trustee. Cheney was sent to Folsom.
From a millionaire family. That's a queer one.
Yeah. Well, how about that lunch, fellas?
Yeah, let's go. Seems like it could have been yesterday, 1931. We grow old right along with the thieves, huh?
Where we go? Federal Cafe?
That's all right with me.
18 years.
Yeah.
Sure goes by in a hurry.
I wonder if Cheney thinks so. As far as day-to-day routine goes, police work is pretty much like any other job. To the rookie detective just starting in, there's new things to see, new things to learn. But 5 or 6 years on the detail and the job gets pretty ordinary. You see a lot of dirt, a lot of trouble and tragedy, and after a while you begin to wonder what all the glamour's about and the excitement that's supposed to go along with the job. The fall months went by pretty slow. On November 3rd, we closed a case against a gang of drugstore hold-up men. In December, Ben's youngster fell off a fence and sprained his wrist. My Uncle George from Renton, Washington, visited my mother and me in January. Stayed a couple of weeks. On January 28th, it rained. Ben and I checked into the office where we got a phone call from Lieutenant Mort Gear of the San Diego Police Department. He gave us additional information on a finance company hold-up which had been pulled in San Diego the day before. In the robbery, one bystander had been shot and killed and another one wounded by the two bandits. They also shot a police officer 3 times through the stomach when he tried to stop him. Next day, Sergeants Ormsby and McGuire from San Diego arrived, and we helped them check the suspects through the stats office.
A couple of bad ones, Joe. Both have guns and they use them.
One of them got away in a car and the other one on foot. Is that right, McGuire?
Yeah, the big one used the car.
Yeah, size ought to help some. Let's see, 45 years old. Height 6'1" or 2 inches. Weight 275, 85 pounds. Anybody get a look at the car, Armstrong?
Blue Ford sedan, 1940 or 41 model. That's all we got.
It's a rough one.
After all the shooting, the witnesses didn't know what they saw, all mixed up.
Well, how about the other one, the guy who got away on foot?
He's a WMA, about 50 years old. 5 feet 8 and 9 inches, 145, 55 pounds, wears glasses.
Yeah, we got that on the teletype. Is that all?
No, we traced him to the Greyhound bus depot about 6 blocks from the holdup. Changed his clothes in the washroom there, left behind a coat and a gun.
Yeah?
The coat was the kind of give parolees from state pen.
Mm-hmm.
Checked it through our crime lab. Same kind of suits are issued to all ex-cons. No make.
Well, at least you know one of them's an ex-con.
How about that gun you found?
It's a murder weapon. Our ballistics man went over it, no prints. Tried to trace the serial number, no record. CII in Sacramento's trying to run it down.
Well, we got any hunches?
A few.
We're almost sure both of them had gone the route before. Pretty cool. Shot down 3 people, didn't bat an eye.
How much did they take in the holdup?
11,000. Hey, your stats office make a run those descriptions yet?
Here this morning, Warren I's got the list of possibilities. They're pulling the mud shots now.
I'll be winding it up right now, don't you think?
Yeah, let's check.
This way, fellas.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Warren.
Oh, thanks.
How's the wife, Warren?
Oh, fine, Ben. She's expecting again.
What are you going to do, raise an army?
4 kids. That's not so bad. McGuire's wife wants 6.
How about that, Mac?
He's at 5 now. No point in quitting when you're ahead.
Frank?
Yeah, Joe.
You know Russ Ormsby and Tony McGuire, don't you? San Diego PD?
Yeah, sure. Met him last trip.
Hi.
Hi, Frank. Good to see you.
Good.
Just ready to call you. Got those mug shots together for you. Here, got them right here.
Okay.
There you are. This is X for suspect 1. This is for number 2.
Okay, Frank. We'll check them out with the witnesses.
There's one mug there. Here, let me show you. Here, this one.
Yeah?
It matches the description pretty close. Safe man by trade, but he can go any route. Name's Weber.
First name?
Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
Call him Turk, I think, nickname.
Know anything about it?
He's an ex-con.
Ormsby and McGuire drove back to San Diego to show the mugshots to the hold-up witnesses and see if they could get an identification. Late the next afternoon, they called back to tell us that Stanley Turk Weber had definitely been identified from his mugshot by 4 of the 5 witnesses as one of the hold-up men. His partner remained unidentified. We called Turk Weber's parole officer, got all the available information on the suspect, including his latest address, an apartment house on North Alameda. Weber wasn't there. We talked with the apartment house manager, and he told us that Turk hadn't been seen there since the day before the San Diego robbery and murder. We had a stakeout put on the apartment. Ben and I went back to the office and had the record bureau pull Weber's package. On his mama sheet, Ben spotted a familiar name, Henry Garson, another ex-con who was listed as one of Turk Weber's closest friends. Well, we got a hold of Garson's parole officer. He told us Garson had had his parole transferred to San Diego, where he disappeared 2 weeks before he was wanted for violation of parole. We tried to check Weber through his relatives, but couldn't find any. But Henry Garson's report showed that he had a brother, Al, who ran a dry cleaning shop down in Seal Beach. He had no criminal record. The next morning, we drove down to see him.
Yeah, Henry came around last July. It's the last time I saw him. I wanted to borrow my car.
You got any idea where he might be now?
No.
You're his brother.
I don't know where he is. That's the truth. I don't want to know where he is.
Was anyone with him when he came to see you last?
No.
You know who his friends are?
Friends? No.
Would you look at these pictures, please, see if you can identify any of them?
All right, just...
No. These here? No. No. Ah. How about these? No.
No. No, look, can't you talk to me later? It's not good for business having cops around a shop.
Who would you yell for if your shop was held up, Mr. Garson?
What's that got to do with it?
Your brother's in trouble. We might stop him from getting in deeper.
Now, look away, man. Hello, Mrs. Running.
Good morning, Al.
Can I help you?
No, Roger. Go ahead and wait in the gentleman.
No, that's all right. They're just waiting. We're just waiting. Can I help you?
My husband's suit cleaned and pressed. Can you have it by Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah, it'll be ready.
My plaid jacket's cleaned and pressed.
All right.
Could you sort this little stairs here?
Where? Yeah, we take care of that. Tuesday, all right. Hey, thanks, Mrs. Running.
All right, Al. Bye.
Bye, Mrs. Running. Thanks.
I don't like to hold you up, Garson. Just a few more questions.
All right.
Now, you said the last time your brother was here, he wanted to borrow your car. Is that right?
That's right.
Did you let him have it?
I let him have nothing.
How about the rest of your family?
Oh, can't you let us alone? If Henry's in trouble, let him take care of it. We've got troubles enough of our own.
This is important, Garson. We've got to have your cooperation.
Well, why me? Oh, Henry's no good, I admit it, but he's still my brother.
Yeah?
You asked me to send him to jail?
If he belongs there, yeah.
Look, I don't want any trouble.
There won't be any.
My mother lives in Santa Barbara. Just moved there. I got the address. Henry goes to see her every once in a while.
When's the last time you saw her?
2 weeks ago, I was there, too, and something else.
What's that?
Henry had a gun.
11 a.m. Tuesday. Ben and I drove back to the office and put in a call to the Santa Barbara Police Department. We asked them to put a stakeout on the home of Henry Garson's mother and to notify us the minute Garson was apprehended. We contacted San Diego and told them what we'd found out. After that, we doubled back on Turk Weber. From one of our informants, we heard that Weber and Garson had gone into some kind of a business together. For a bankroll, they'd succeeded in getting a loan from the Second National Bank out in Glendale. 1 p.m. We drove out and checked with the manager of the bank's loan department, Mr. Peabody.
Here we are, officers. Stanley T. Weber, Henry Garson. Loan papers were signed over a month ago.
What kind of a loan was it, Peabody?
Business loan. Garson and Weber came in with another man. They talked to our manager, Mr. Ascot. Excuse me.
Yeah. What business are they in?
Trucking concern. They wanted the money to buy equipment, more trucks.
How much money did they borrow?
$4,500, usual terms.
I guess you inquired into their background.
Oh, yes, their whole financial background.
Did you know that Garson and Weber are both ex-convicts?
I beg your pardon?
I said, did you know that both of them are ex-convicts?
You sure you haven't made a mistake? Henry Garson, Stanley T. Weber?
Yeah, that's right. What'd they offer for collateral?
Well, they had some of their equipment, 2 trucks, and then, of course, there was the cosigner.
Who was that?
The name's right here on the loan papers.
I see.
Right here. Cosigner, Frank Cheney.
2:30 p.m. Ben and I checked back into the office and went down the hall to R&I. We pulled a package on Frank Bertram Cheney. White, male American, 5 foot 8.5 inches, 152 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. The record read like a dime novel. Almost 20 years before, Cheney had crashed into the headlines of Pacific Coast newspapers as the gentleman bandit. Maybe some of the news stories were exaggerated, but the record showed that he actually owned a yacht, 3 expensive cars, an apartment house. In spite of all this, he had decided to settle for a career of robbery and murder. At the age of 30, he was the most sought-after man on the Pacific Coast. Finally, in 1931, after tracking him for a year and a half through more than a dozen armed robberies, Sergeants Thaxter and Taylor of the Los Angeles Police Department brought him in. He served 18 years at San Quentin and Folsom penitentiaries, and then he won his parole at the age of 48. We checked his parole officer, and he had nothing to report against him. We checked back in at robbery detail and met with Captain Ed Walker.
How about Cheney's friends, Weber and Garson? Nothing yet? Not a thing, Skipper. Stakeout's still on at Garson's mother's place in Santa Barbara. Weber's apartment's still covered. You called San Diego about this, the Cheney angle?
Yeah, we briefed him. They got all the mugshots down there. Weber's definitely been tagged as one of the men on that finance company, John.
I figured Garson for the second man, but none of the witnesses have picked out his mugshot. You talked to Cheney's parole officer, huh? Yeah, I did. He gave us Cheney's last address. Same as the one on his ex-con registration, but he's moved. Didn't notify the officer. Where does that leave you?
Well, I talked to the manager at the apartment. He gave us a couple of addresses to run down. Guess we better start getting on it, huh?
Yeah, it's getting late. Keep in touch. I'll notify if anything breaks here.
Right.
Just a minute. Robbery, Walker. Oh? Yeah, just a minute. You, Joe.
Thank you.
San Diego.
Hey. Friday.
McGuire, Joe. How you doing?
Good. You got something?
We had the holdup witnesses back in again this afternoon. Showed them more mugshots.
Yeah?
Picked out Weber's partner in the holdup.
Yeah?
Name's Frank Cheney.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Lee Silver, general assignment reporter on one of New York's greatest newspapers. You'll see his picture in leading magazines this week. And here is his actual signed statement.
When you have to meet a news deadline, you work at a fast pace, smoke at a fast pace. That's why I smoke Fatima. They're extra mild. In my opinion, it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Tuesday, January 31st, 4 p.m. In addition to the San Diego teletype, we got out a local broadcast and an APB on Frank Cheney. By 4:30, Ben and I had checked out the first of two addresses where Cheney's former landlady told us that he might be staying. It was a rooming house out on West Washington. The owner told us that Cheney had stayed at his place for a few days, but that had been more than 2 months before. He had no idea where the suspect might be. We then drove to the second address. It was an apartment house on West Stanford near Slauson. Manager's name was Mrs. Pritchard.
Why, yes, I believe Mr. and Mrs. Cheney are home. They've been in all day.
Which apartment are they in, ma'am?
Number 7, straight down the hall on your right.
Thank you.
They may be having dinner now. Are they expecting you?
Be all right, ma'am. Thank you. Okay.
How about the door?
It's open. Come on. The apartment was deserted. We checked the bedroom and the kitchen. There were obvious signs of a fast getaway. On a card table in the living room, we found the remains of a quick dinner. 2 places were set. One plate was almost clean, the other hardly touched. The coffee on the stove was still lukewarm. We called the office and arranged for a stakeout. Then we went back down the hall and talked to the manager again.
They moved in about a month ago, Sergeant. They looked like any other newly married couple.
Did you notice if they had any visitors, Mrs. Pritchard?
Well, they might have, but I didn't notice.
Did you notice anything odd about him at all?
Only that one thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cheney always seemed to have plenty of money. Put down 2 months' rent in advance. But he didn't seem to have a job.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, every morning he'd sleep late, but his wife was up at 8 o'clock to go to work.
Where'd she work, you know?
A company called Thompson and some other name. Offices are down on South Hope. Builders, I think. Homes and things.
Mm-hmm.
My phone. Would you excuse me?
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Hello? Oh, yes. What? Yes, 2 police officers.
Miss Pritchard,
they
no.
want to talk to you. Hello?
Cheney?
Oh, yes, he hung up.
An alert for Cheney and his wife was broadcast, with special attention for the south end of the city. The wife's name and description was added to the APB. The next morning, Ben and I located her place of employment, Thompson and Kilkenny, a big construction company. The office manager told us that 3 days before, Mrs. Cheney had resigned her job by letter. She asked that her final paycheck be sent to her mother, who lived in Marysville, California. We contacted the Marysville Police Department immediately, and the home of Cheney's mother-in-law was placed under 24-hour surveillance. We now had more than a half a dozen stakeouts going. A week passed. Nothing. Cheney and his wife seemed to have dropped completely from sight. Wednesday, February 9th, we got a tip from the Santa Barbara police that Cheney's friend, Henry Garson, was in Los Angeles working in an auction house on Wilshire Boulevard. We ran it down.
Looks like a high-class place.
We got a nice crowd, haven't we?
Mm-hmm. Did you get lost here?
No, thanks. We'd like to see the manager, please.
All right. Let me see. Oh, yes, over there by the claim desk. The man in the dark suit, Mr. Will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now do I hear a bid? We'll start off for $25.
Mr. Woolley?
Yeah?
Police officer, sir. We'd like to check on a man who's supposed to be one of your employees, sir.
Oh, that's so? What's his name?
Here's his picture. Can you identify?
Why, yes, that's Johnson, the new clerk. You want to talk to him?
Yes, sir.
All right. Right this way. He's back in the storeroom. Some kind of trouble?
We'd like to talk to him.
Yes, all right. Let's see. Oh, yes, there he is. Johnson. Oh, Johnson, would you come
on, Ben.
What are you running for? Johnson, come here.
Out the back.
Yeah.
There he goes. He's heading up the street.
Come on. got on that bus. All right, come on, let's double back to the car. Yep. Hurry. Yep.
Did you see the bus?
Yeah. Come on, move it.
Yep.
All right, hit the siren. All right, that did it. The driver's pulling over. Pull up behind the bus there, huh? Yeah, come on, let's go. You cover the back door, will you? Open your door.
What's the matter?
Police officers want to check your passengers. Open that rear door right away.
Yes, sir.
All right, Garson, get off.
I'm getting off.
Coming at you, Joe.
Getting off, copper. Make a hole.
Drop it, Garson.
He's got a gun.
I said I'm getting off.
Let's drop it. Come on.
Good, Joe. You okay?
Yeah. Let's get him off of here.
Hey, what's it all about? He do something wrong?
Yeah, he didn't get off when we asked him to. "9 p.m. Wednesday. We drove Garson to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, where he was treated for minor cuts and bruises. Then we took him back to the office of the interrogation room. We called San Diego and notified them of the arrest. From 10 o'clock that night until 10 the next morning, Captain Walker, Ben, and I questioned Garson. He refused to admit that he even knew Frank Cheney or Turk Weber. By noon, he was pretty tired. So were we. At 12:05, a call came through from San Diego.
Friday, this is Russ Ormsby.
Yeah, Russ.
Press lead on Turk Weber. He's got a sister living in San Clemente.
Yeah?
And we've got her house staked out. Had a tip he's going to pay her a visit.
When's that?
This afternoon.
3:15 p.m. We got to the San Clemente turnoff, and a few minutes later, Ormsby and McGuire arrived from San Diego. We drove to the home of Weber's sister on South Orange Street and identified ourselves. She told us that Turk had been there that morning, but that he'd gone to the races at Del Mar for the afternoon.
Did your brother say he was coming back?
Said he might be back. He wasn't sure.
Did he go to the racetrack alone?
Yeah?
Was he going to meet anyone there?
I don't think so. He didn't mention it.
You driving a car?
No, he took the bus to the track.
I see. Where would he most likely go if he doesn't come back here?
I don't know. Maybe back to L.A., maybe San Diego. I don't know.
Well, do you know if your brother Turk is going to meet Frank Cheney?
How could he? Turk says Cheney's up north someplace with his wife. Told me that this morning.
Where up north?
He didn't know.
Mm-hmm. You and McGuire want to stake out here, Ormsby? Ben and I'll hit the track.
Yeah, okay.
Look, I can't have cops here if Turk comes back. They think I framed him.
He'll get over it.
You don't know Turk. When he gets sore, he goes out of his head. He'll kill me.
Why worry, miss?
Huh?
He'll have to kill us first.
3:45 p.m. Ben and I left Weber's sister's house and drove down to the racetrack at Del Mar. We got there just at the start of the 7th race. We had no idea whether the suspect was still there or not. We alerted the security police, gave them mug shots of Weber. Then we went to the public address booth in the clubhouse and talked to the man in charge. A few minutes later, the trap for Weber was set.
Mr. Stanley T. Weber, please come to the public address booth. Emergency phone call. Mr. Stanley T. Weber, please come to the public address booth.
We waited. Ben stationed at a vantage point on one side of the booth, me on the other. Minutes passed. Weber didn't show. Ben caught my eye and shrugged his shoulders.
Mr. Stanley T. Weber, please come to the public address booth. Emergency telephone call. Mr. Stanley T. Weber, please come to the public address booth.
The announcer was barely finished when I saw Ben motioning. I looked and saw a large man heading up the cement ramp. When he got to the top, he turned to his right and headed straight for the public address booth. It was Turk Weber.
Hold it right there, Weber.
Police officers, get your hands up.
What is this? You lousy cops, I'll have you busted for this.
Save it, Weber. Get your hands up.
Who tipped you?
What difference does it make? Stand still.
You'll never get him. You'll never get him in 20 years.
Never get who?
You know who. Cheney. He's too smart for you. You'll never get him, not in 20 years.
All right, we got you, Weber. Shake him, Ben.
I'll shake you, cop.
Watch it, Ben.
Let go. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. All right.
That's it. He's sure a big package.
Yeah. What's that over there? Did that fall out of his pocket?
It's like a tip sheet. Yeah. Yeah. Blue Boys Peerless Selection for Thursday. Price $1.
Let me look at that a minute, Kelly. Best picks. You can't lose. This is your lucky day.
What's it prove?
He ought to get his $1 back.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 19th, trial was held in Superior Court, City and County of San Diego, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild, because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
After identifying Frank Cheney as the man who did the shooting in the San Diego holdup and murder, Stanley T. Weber was tried and convicted of participation in the robbery and received a sentence of life imprisonment. Henry Garson was cleared of any complicity in the holdup killing, but he was returned to prison for violation of parole and for several burglaries in San Diego and Los Angeles. Both men are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary.
Next week, Frank Cheney, the Gentleman Bandit, Part 2.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. Next, Sarah's Private Caper with comedian Sarah Berner on NBC.
Pat Novak, or higher. Sure, I'm Pat Novak, for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. Down on the waterfront in San Francisco, you don't get prizes for being subtle. If you want to make a living down here, you got to get your hand in the till any way you can. You rob Peter to pay Paul, and then you put it on the cup. So I rent boats and tell a few white lies if the price is right. It's a happy life, if you don't mind looking up at a headstone, because sooner or later you draw trouble a size too big. I found that out Tuesday night. It was raining, and the street was as deserted as a warm bottle of beer. It must have been about 11 o'clock when I came out of the office and started down the waterfront. As I got near the corner, I stopped. An old man stepped out of the darkness and started across the street. It was a short trip because a car started up down the street and the old man couldn't have made it with a pocket full of aces. I started over to him. The car slowed down for a minute and then turned the corner and disappeared. As it passed under the streetlight, I caught a glimpse of the license plate in a dull, surprised way, the way you'd grab a feather out of an angel's wing. I bent over the old man and rolled him on his back. He didn't seem to be in pain. He was just an old man with the frightened look of a small boy in a storm. He was breathing hard as I cushioned his head.
Please help me. Can you please help me?
That's a big order, mister.
I must talk to you.
Well, if you've got any good quotes, you better get them off your chest fast.
In my pocket. Inside my pocket. You please put your hand.
Yeah. In here?
Yeah.
Sure. 2 envelopes. What about them?
One is money for you. You have the other one?
So far.
The other one. Please keep sealed. And you will give it to John St. John?
John St. John.
Yeah.
Well, where's he live?
You don't understand. It's not... I want to tell you. You don't understand.
He was right on that one. I didn't understand a thing, except he slipped out of my arms and stopped paying taxes. I dragged him over the side, and I went through his stuff. There was nothing there. No identification. Just a card with an address out on Haight Street. I opened the envelope, and $300 tumbled into my breast pocket. The other one was sealed. There was no name on it, but up in the corner there was some kind of marking. It looked like 2 crosses spliced together. There wasn't anything I could do for him except pray, and I owe some back dues. So I went back to my office and called police headquarters. I told them where the old man was, and then I checked in the phone book. There was no John St. John listed. Well, it wasn't going to be easy to find him, and I only had 2 leads, that license number and the address on Haight Street. So I looked up the only honest guy I know, an ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. A good guy, but to him a hangover is the price of being sober. I finally found him singing in a Mason Street bar. Jocko, I want to talk to you.
Ah, Patsy, you're just in time for the counterpoint. I'm singing a song, a little sentimental thing from my childhood.
Yeah, well, it'll keep. I got a problem.
You'll always have a problem, Patsy, because you can't keep out of trouble. You know that, don't you? You have no self-control.
All right, Jocko.
You have no more self-control than a bucket of mercury dumped on a marble staircase.
All right, now, shall we check the bright talk? I just saw a guy get killed.
Oh, you're like some violent disorder in nature, some large but unprofitable storm. You keep whirling in circles, Patsy. If you ever go more than 10 feet in one direction, it's because some woman is 9 feet away. Then it begins all over again.
Are you all through?
Yes, get to the point. That's another of your troubles. You never get to the point.
I just saw a guy killed 10 minutes ago.
How would that interest me? Are you selling an eyewitness account?
Some old guy got killed down on the Embarcadero. He checked out 15 feet away from me.
Who killed him?
I don't know.
Why do you care? Professional jealousy?
Some car came out of nowhere and clipped him.
You sure it wasn't an accident?
Yeah, just like the Berlin blockade. Will you stop needling me, Jocko? I told you a guy got killed. He was murdered right in front of me. I got to find a guy called John St. John.
How, St. John?
John St. John. I don't feel like vaudeville tonight, Jocko. The old man gave me $300 to deliver a letter, and I made him a promise.
Well, you can break it now with only the slightest risk.
I got the license number of the car. Now, I want you to hop down and look it up. And then check at headquarters to see if the guy's got a record, will you?
I don't like policemen. They depress me.
Check it. I got to go out to Haight Street. What kind of neighborhood is it out there?
Well, it's not exactly a neighborhood. It's more like an architectural afterthought, a lingering defense against the early California bear.
All right. No speeches. Just check on that license plate, huh? Now, if I'm not at my place, try this address.
Yes, that's always very interesting at this time of night. Good night, lover.
Jocko was right about the neighborhood. When I left him, I doubled by my place and left the envelope. I put it inside another envelope and stashed it behind some books, and then I headed out to look up John St. John. Oh, it must have been about midnight when I got there, and it was the kind of a neighborhood where a for rent sign reads like a ransom note. I found the place, though. It was an old rooming house, a third-floor apartment. I knocked at the door, and when she opened it, I knew it was time to wire home for money. A tall, blonde blister with lots of Fahrenheit. He stood there leaning against the door, smiling, looking at you as if you had gold-plated muscles. It gave you a weak feeling where your dinner ought to be. And her voice came right out of the oven.
Well, you're an odd kind of lady.
Yeah, I'm looking for a guy named John St. John.
Oh? Won't you come into my cobweb?
Sure. For a spider, you're nice and chubby.
Oh, a Spider-Man. My name's Lee Norton. You want to write it down?
I'm Pat Novak. I'm looking for a guy named John St. John.
You seem to be running a temperature on the subject. Sit down?
Yeah, the couch will do.
I'll bet you carry rainy nights in your pocket.
All right, now let's get out of the woods, Angel. I'm looking for a guy.
I know you're wearing out the past. I don't know a John St. John.
A dead man was carrying around your address.
He was? That seems rather feudal.
Yeah, an old guy about 60. He got killed crossing the street.
You should have had a Boy Scout then. I don't know anything about him, Mr. Novak. Despite occasional temptations, I don't collect 60-year-old men.
Well, he was looking around your address. Why?
I don't know. Maybe he admired me from afar, like a sunset or something.
No, he stopped admiring sunsets about 20 years ago.
I see. What are you, the avenging angel?
He gave me a sealed envelope.
And you were supposed to give it to a man named John St. John.
That's right. He gave me $300 to ease the pain.
I forget that. You don't look like the charitable type.
He was a nice old guy, so I'm going to find his boy.
Maybe I could help you.
But you got a clear, fast track. Let's see you go.
Well, I told you I don't know John St. John, but I'll do this much.
Yeah, I know. You're going to be big-hearted and offer to take that letter just in case you ever meet someone named John St. John.
What? You brought along your crystal ball.
Your hand's shaking, baby.
Maybe it's the wind. You better hold it.
You need a handrail, friend.
Yeah? What are your plans?
I'm open-minded about it.
You're a nice Spider-Man.
Yeah. The wind's getting a little worse, isn't it?
Yeah. Wish you'd act a little more surprised, though.
I'm not. When I walked in, I could see you had both arms broken. Did you pay the rent this month?
Keep the kettle on. I'll only be a moment.
Hello, Lee. If we're early, just give us a magazine.
No, come on in. Well, just enough for some bridge.
You're right. You're only gone for a moment. Who are your friends?
Oh, now don't sulk.
Did they lock the manhole before they left home?
His name's Novak.
Yeah? That's a pretty name. It don't rhyme with anything, but it's pretty, huh, Joe?
Yeah, it's all right.
Let's have the letter, Novak.
You got hold of a bad rumor, fella.
The one I got's good. Let's have it.
I don't want to strain your mind, Junior, but try to understand. I don't have a letter.
Ask him again.
Go on home, mister. You're not going to get anything out of me except a small tip. Now, if you're a good boy, I'll give you a nickel for your friend, too.
All right, Joe. Hold him up. Yeah. Just a minute.
He's got a head of hair. Hold him up. All right, Mike. That's enough. That's enough.
All right, baby. Don't look so sorry you can't have everything.
It's easy to sleep if you got the right friends. When those two gallops were through, I hit the floor and made Rip Van Winkle look like an insomnia victim. I didn't like the floor, but it was in better shape than my face. I don't know how long I was there, but it must have been a couple of hours. I rolled over once and tried to get up, but it was like trying to barbecue a cake of ice. There was a sick, sweet smell in the room. I tried to place it, but my nose was out on strike, so I went to sleep again. The next thing I knew, it sounded like New Year's Eve.
Here you go, Betsy. Up on the couch.
What's the matter?
Nothing. If you're the kitchen stove, the room's full of gas.
Oh.
You ought to open the window if you're going to turn on the gas.
Some of my playmates, I guess.
Well, you weren't at the apartment, so I tried here.
Yeah. What time is it?
2:00. Who got the quaint idea of the gas chamber?
The girlfriend. It was love at first sight.
I see. Let's go home to bed.
I'm getting used to floors. That old man started a ball game, Jocko. When I mentioned John St. John to this girl, she turned banker and brought in the Gunsels.
Did she get the letter?
I left it at home.
Oh, you're getting smart.
Yeah. $300 worth. They lifted my dough.
You couldn't have used it where you were going.
Yeah.
I've checked on that hit-and-run car. It's listed under the name of Sidney Bronson.
Has he got a record?
No.
Everybody's a beginner. Well, let's go home.
Oh, it'll be dull, but you'll get used to it. Wait till I wash my hands.
Yeah, go ahead.
Patsy!
Yeah?
What did your girlfriend look like? Was she the lively type?
Yeah. Why? What's the matter?
Because she's not anymore.
Yeah. Those gunsels play rough.
She's kind of pretty. What did she do besides sending out vibrations?
I don't know. But she knew all about John St. John.
Yeah?
She picked up the bait like a hungry bass. Also, look at that ring.
How'd you get around to that?
The insignia on it. The same one that's on that envelope. Spliced crosses.
Let's go home, Patsy. The police will be here.
Yeah. Even Hellman will know she's dead. Come on, we better go. On your way out the door, Jocko, try it sideways because I think it's blocked.
Hello, Novak. You look pale.
It's my color scheme. What do you care, Hellman?
None. She looks peaceful.
Yeah, be quiet or you'll wake her up.
I'll tiptoe. You always cut her throat before she goes to sleep? Who is she, Novak?
I don't know.
It's awful cozy here for a bunch of perfect strangers.
I don't know every dead girl in town, Hellman. You'll have to check.
You can still write, can't you, Novak? That's all you'll need down at headquarters. Come on.
Oh, get out of the haze, Hellman. You don't know who's dead yet, but you're going to book somebody.
Yeah. What are you doing up here, appraising the joint?
I came up to find a guy named John St. John.
She doesn't look like a guy named John St. John.
She was my lead. I came up here to smell out a rat. She had a half Nelson on me when two gunsels walked in.
They came up to fix the gas meter, I think.
You stay out of this.
I'll make every effort.
Now, if you're smart, you'll fingerprint this place, Hellman. These boys were cute. They've been in somebody's jail.
I'll handle my job. You stick to murder.
You'll go a long way to pin this on me, Hellman.
I can go a long way, Novak.
Not with what you got to drag.
We get a call in the middle of the night. Come up here and find you standing over a dead girl.
That's right.
And you want me to sprinkle powder all over. Back up and take a better look, Novak.
Oh, the view's fine, Hellman, and if you'll take a good look, you'll know why. You haven't got anything to give the DA except a slim lead and a fat hand. You're going to need help.
Not on this one.
You need help to find the street. Come on back to center, Hellman. Even with both hands, you couldn't
Yeah?
find... Forget it.
So take the medicine like a good boy. I'm not going to walk out and let the two of you tour the town. I'm going to book one or both of you on a murder charge.
All right. Book Jocko here, then.
I love you in a generous mood.
You got a string, then, Hellman. Somebody's got to find John St. John.
Who's going to find Jocko?
Oh, stop worrying. I'll bail you out.
You haven't got the right size heart, Novak. You'll let him die on the vine.
Hellman, sometimes you're guilty of unexpected wisdom. I know it's reflex action, but it's consoling anyway.
I want you, Novak. I want you bad. I'll take this guy as a down payment, but I'm going to close out with you. Remember that.
I will.
All right. Come on, mister.
Wait a minute. Patsy, you're not going to let him lug me off like this.
What else can I do? The guy likes you. It was a bum curve to throw Jocko, but somebody had to dig us out of a hole. Jocko wasn't the boy. He can't shovel dirt with a bar rag. Well, I had no idea where to start. There were two murders, and they were both tied up with this John St. John. He didn't look like a good guy to know. Then there was that insignia, too. The one on the letter and the one on the girl's ring. Sure, it could be a coincidence, but that's what they said about Bluebeard. The only thing I could do was open that letter, so I went back to the apartment. I didn't have to turn on the light. They were running in pairs tonight. She was sitting there on the couch, proud of a pair of long silk legs and smiling like a guy who knows he's got $1 million in the bank. She was blonde, too. A little more lemon juice, maybe, but blonde anyway. She was nice and comfortable, and I got the idea she'd just signed a lease.
Good evening. How do you do?
Not very well so far.
A sly remark, Mr. Novak?
No, I'm just bringing you up to date. Your girlfriend's dead.
Yes?
Yeah. The gas jet's out in the kitchen.
It is? I think that's supposed to be mysterious.
You clear it up, then. Find a name for yourself and a reason why you picked out my furniture.
Oh? Do you mind my being here?
I just want to know your name before I throw you out in the hall.
Mr. Novak, I'll bet you're awfully slow when it comes to throwing somebody out in the hall.
Not if they can bounce as well as I figure you can.
When you do throw me out, throw the letter out, too.
All right, now, I've already had a dress rehearsal. The answer's no.
Well, at least I know where you stand. By the way, why are you standing? Please sit down.
Yeah. Who's John St. John?
Don't be redundant, Mr. Novak.
Who is he? If you want that letter, you know him.
Just shout. I'd like you better if you could.
I don't need your vote. Who's John St. John?
I don't know him.
You want that letter because you collect stamps.
I want it. You'll have to take my word. I don't know John St. John's. Is he worth breaking your heart over?
Look, there's a good guy down in the clink sweating on a murder rap for me, so I want John St. John.
You've got nice friends.
Who's Sidney Bronson?
How does that fit into the picture?
This started with a waterfront corpse. The leftovers belonged to an old guy that was hit by a car. The car's registered in the name of Sidney Bronson.
Mr. Novak, you seem so intense. It's a pity to waste it on random speculation.
Now, look, I told you, lady, I got a friend in the jug.
Loyalty's a nice trait. One of your nicest.
Yeah.
You're a pretty thing, Patsy.
Let's don't get fooled by the rapper.
I'll take a chance.
Anybody ever brief you on trouble?
Mm-hmm. You're hard to see that far away. Come on over into focus, Patsy.
Yeah.
You're pretty, Patsy.
You look like you want a bill of sale.
I'm a gentle kind, Novak. I'd just like to break your ribs.
Go ahead, I can get a brace.
Come here.
Yeah? What's on your mind?
What you're going to say when you find out about this gun?
Huh?
That's right, sweetheart. My finger isn't hollow. Back up and take a look at the gun.
You got to that purse, huh?
That's right.
You've ruined my confidence.
I'll give you a testimonial. In the meantime, I want the letter.
You go after everything the same way.
I want the letter.
It's in the desk. Come on. Right here in the top of the door. All right.
Go, stay away from...
I'm already here, lady. All right, now come on, stop the gun, sis.
Let go of my arms now.
That's your version.
Let go of me. Let go of me. What was that for?
A little something on the house. Now beat it.
Well, you've ruined my confidence.
You're lucky. Go on home.
You won't change your mind about that letter?
No.
Suit yourself. I'll be going. Oh, Patsy?
Yeah?
I can't help you on John St. John, but I wouldn't worry about that fellow, Sidney Bronson.
Why?
Because I'm Sidney Bronson. See you soon, Patsy.
That one sink in for a minute, but it got about as far as my brain and ran out of gas. She wasn't driving that murder car. Otherwise, she wouldn't get that talkie. It began to look like a big, fat, well-fed double-cross, and John St. John was holding up his end. I had to find out what was in that letter, so I made tracks for the bookcase. All I could do was browse because the letter was gone. Whoever took it didn't even leave a tip. I thought of the girl, but that didn't make sense, and I thought of John St. John. That made lots of sense. Things didn't look rosy for me or Jocko. I was about to buy a file and bake a cake when the phone rang. Yeah.
Hello, Novak.
Oh, Hellman.
The coroner got a report on that dead girl. She died at 12:30.
That's pretty close. What's he got, a stopwatch?
15 minutes either way. Those fingerprints panned out, too.
Yeah?
A couple of L.A. strong-arm men.
Well, that's new for L.A. You got a call out?
We already picked them up. Your favorite's named Welcome Danglers.
I could make a joke.
I already got one. They're set up with a perfect alibi for 12:30.
That means I killed the girl.
Nobody's arguing. I got some more news.
Yeah?
I'm out at Seal Rock.
You got the figure for it.
We just found an envelope floating around the water. It's one of yours. You better come on out.
You found an envelope, so what?
So the envelope turns out to be in some guy's pocket. Come on out.
Well, that only meant one thing. Whoever took that envelope out of my place got popular. It was getting late, so I grabbed a cab and rode out to the beach. When I got there, Hellman was standing down near the water. He had Jocko with him. The surf was rolling in, and Jocko wasn't much better.
Hello, Patsy.
Hiya, Jocko. How's jail?
Dry.
Thanks for coming, Novak. You're sweet.
Where's the envelope?
Here.
Yeah, the same one.
That makes you look good.
There was a letter in here. Did you take that with the guy's money, Hellman?
You got all there is.
This guy on the beach is the third one.
It's my opinion the case will solve itself. We're running out of people.
Who is the guy?
His name's Walter Avery. Here's his stuff.
Yeah, what's left? Well, this spliced cross really gets around.
Huh?
It keeps bobbing up. Here it is on the guy's fountain pen.
I'm going to run this guy through the morgue, and then I'm going to look you up, Novak.
Yeah?
Sure. We want you down with us.
That's right, Patsy. I'll introduce you to all the best people. Good night, lover.
Well, it was close at 5, so I tagged by my place for some sleep. I tossed around like a fish on the living room rug. Hellman called about 9 to throw more dust in my eyes. He said one of the airlines had a passenger to Portland named Walter Avery. Just to make it tough, the guy made the 12 o'clock plane and got off at Portland. Well, I had left field all to myself. I got dressed and looked up Sidney Bronson's number. There was no answer, so I went over. The place was locked, and I looked up the janitor. He wasn't going to let me in, but it turned out his wife had a birthday coming up. Sidney's apartment was real high-powered. I don't know where she got the dough, but I knew I wasn't going to find a tin cup and pencil. What I found was lots better. A card with that same insignia, a spliced cross. The card said Bellcrest Sanitarium, and down in the corner there was a guy's name, Dr. Emil Schoenig, psychiatrist. Vienna without the walls. The Bellcrest Sanitarium was down near San Carlos, so I borrowed a new Nash from a guy I know and headed down that way. Everything was fine until I got in the front door. They didn't even let me register. I woke up on a couch in Schoenig's office. It was dark outside, and my left arm was throbbing like a love story in a woman's magazine. The radiator sitting next to me was Sidney.
You're a deep sleeper.
I think I got some help. What happened to my arm?
Hypodermic. You only need one arm anyway.
In your case, I need a spare. Who did it?
Dr. Schoenig.
He's a darling boy. Where is he?
Out on the phone trying to figure out what to do with you.
What's that make me, a patient?
That's one way of putting it. You made things easy. We were coming to you for the letter.
You want to try that over again?
We were on our way when you stumbled in.
You're wrong, Sid. Somebody's giving you a fast pitch. That letter was gone when you were up at my place.
I don't want a bum rib, Patsy. I want that letter.
You're trailing a field, Angel. I told you the letter's gone. A guy by the name of Walter Avery took it out of my place.
Walter Avery?
That's right, and somebody thanked him. They found him this morning making like a dead seal.
Walter Avery left for Portland last night.
A plant, sweetheart. You better read up on your friends.
Yeah. Thanks, Patsy.
I told you to watch him, Sid. You had more shots.
What's the difference?
None, I suppose. Why don't you mix us a drink while I talk to Mr. Novak?
I'll be right with you.
Well, Mr. Novak, you're one of my best patients.
That's because I like your needles. You better go easy on that drink.
Yes? Why?
You'll get drunk and run somebody down the way you did that guy on the waterfront.
Oh? A good guess. You should be proud. That's a good, sensible, final emotion.
Here's your drink, Emil.
Thank you, my dear. Here's to Mr. Novak. Sorry there's no drink for you, Mr. Novak.
You probably will be.
Huh?
Forget it.
Emil, I talked to Mr. Novak before you came in. He thinks you're a heel.
He does.
So do I.
Oh, I can stand it.
He told me about Walter Avery.
I'm sorry about that.
Walter got that letter. You killed him and took it. I was supposed to blunder around till you got rid of me, too. That's a bum joke, Emil.
You're getting hysterical.
With laughter, Emil. You put one of your boys on that plane. Only Novak aired the wash too fast.
Suppose I did. Somebody ought to bring you up to date, Sidney. You've been hanging on too long. The free ride's over. I might as well tell you now. You're all through. I can't a whole bunch of longer. And I'm all through.
Steady, Emil.
What's the matter with me? What's the matter with me, Sid?
Give him a hand, Novak. He just had a bad drink.
You wouldn't do that, Sid.
I'm full of surprises. You got a stomach full of poison. You got a stomach full of poison in 15 seconds, Emil. Put down that gun, Emil.
I want you too, Sid.
Please, Emil, put down the gun.
I will stop. It's tough. This happened kind of fast for an of us.
What's the noise, huh, Patsy?
Yeah. I'll get you a pillow.
I'd rather have your lap.
You get mercy, not love, baby.
Thanks for small favors. How do I look?
Not so good. That was the 3-2 pitch.
Yeah, I had it coming up. I'll tell you about John St. John.
I know. There was no such guy.
That's right. It was the name of the group.
Those spliced crosses?
Yes. Found out a little late. But it's always that way. That's the way I found out about you.
Yeah?
I had a funny hunch about you and me. I found out a little late. But I know now, Patsy. Does that help?
John was the name of an organization buying and selling government information. That old man tried to tell me, but he checked out too fast. I began to figure something like that when those spliced crosses started showing up. Schoenig killed the old man in Sidney's car. He couldn't stop because I was around. The two girls and Walter Avery were both in on the deal. Schoenig knew who I was when he saw me go into my office. He tailed me to my place and left Avery there to look for the letter. He killed that girl up in the rooming house, and then he found out she didn't have the letter. When Avery showed up, he took it away from him and threw him to the fish. Schoenig was trying to shake Sidney by sending her up to my place after he had the letter. The scheme went haywire when I showed up at the sanitarium. He was trying to work himself out of that one when the payoff came. John St. John? Yeah, right from the start, Jocko said he was either dead or in the state pen, because anybody with a name like John St. John would have killed his parents as soon as he got old enough to find out about it. Worked out all right. They found the letter out at Schoenig's place. There were some plans for guided missiles and a few other trifles. Well, Hellman asked only one question. How come Schoenig didn't kill me before I could talk to the girl? Well, it's always that way with a guy who commits murder. Either he goes too far or he doesn't go far enough.
Forces Radio Service has just brought you Pat Novak for Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced by William P. Russo. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Adams. Be with us again next week when over most of these same stations we'll bring you Pat Novak for Hire. Pat Novak for Hire was previously released by ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, for listeners in the United States, and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
To hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. 3 persons are shot down in a $12,000 holdup. One of the bandits is apprehended, convicted, and sent to prison for life. The other one is still at large. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, June 6th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Ed Walker. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from communications, and it was 11:35 a.m. when I got to room 27A, robbery division.
Joe, how are you?
Oh, hi, Dave.
Message in the book for you. Came in a couple of minutes ago.
Oh, thank you.
Woman's voice. Wanted you to call as soon as you got in.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. I'll get it now.
Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau, Miss Bentley.
Policewoman River there, please.
Just a minute. River? Hold on, please.
All right.
Miss River?
Dorothy? Joe Friday.
Oh, yes, Joe. You get the message?
Yeah. You worrying about your purse?
I can't find it anywhere. Did I leave it in your car last night?
Found it this morning. I can leave it at the desk here if you like. You can pick it up sometime today.
Oh, that'll be swell, Joe. Thanks a lot.
Sure, Dorothy.
I had a wonderful time last night, Joe. I certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah. Pretty good movie, huh? Hey, Dorothy?
Yeah.
Mother and I were talking this morning at breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Like to come over to the house sometime for dinner? Ma'd like to meet you.
Oh, well, sure. That'd be fine. I'd like to meet your mother.
How about a week from this coming Monday? That's my day off. Is that okay?
All right. A week from this Monday.
The weather's good. Well, maybe we can have a barbecue out in the back.
Oh, it sounds wonderful.
Okay, see you later then.
All right, Joe. Bye.
Bye.
Joe?
Hi. How'd it work out, Ben?
It didn't. Another false alarm. Sure is a scorcher out today.
4 months work and not one solid lead. Where are we going?
I haven't got the answer. I've run down so many bum tips, I don't think I know the real thing would hit me in the face.
Yeah.
Romero, Joe?
Yeah, Skipper?
Oh, McGuire and Mort Gear from San Diego just got here. You want to come in?
Yeah, right away, Ed. There they are.
All right. Oh, Ben,
What do you say?
Sit down. Hope you two have more than we have.
It's all in that report on the skipper's desk. 4 months leg work. Cold.
Nothing at all?
Oh, lots of phony tips, bum leads. We got 3 stakeouts going. His mugshot's plastered all over town.
No go, huh?
I don't know. I think he's got the perfect face for a killer. You can hang his description on 1,000,000 guys. Got nothing on him at all. Ben here just ran down the last lead we own.
Yeah, false alarm.
Nothing on the APB, huh?
Got dust on it. Cold enough to bury.
How long's it been since it happened? Back in January, wasn't it?
Yeah, 27. Stanley Finance Company, San Diego.
It's all right there in the report, Ed.
Yeah, I see. Hold-up shooting, got 12,000. Suspects Frank Cheney, Turk Weber. Cheney did the shooting.
That's what stops me.
What's that?
Took us a couple of weeks to grab Turk Weber and put him away. Here it's more than 4 months and Cheney's still on the loose. Doesn't add. He can't be that smart.
Well, he's free. I can't think of a better testimonial.
What about the other angles, Friday, besides those 3 stakeouts?
We covered the town for Cheney, Ed. 4 months of it. Hotels, rooming houses, motor courts, bars, restaurants, the works. Must have a couple of thousand copies of his mugshot spread around.
No response?
Oh, get 4 or 5 calls a day on him. Been going on for weeks now. We check him out. Never the right man.
What about his wife? She's still supposed to be with Cheney, isn't she?
Funny thing, we haven't had one report on her.
The last time the two of them were supposed to have been seen together was 5 weeks ago. That was up in Stockton.
Cheney's mother-in-law lives in Marysville, huh? You still have a stakeout on her house?
Yeah, no leads there either.
How about it, Mort? Nothing to offer?
About the same as up here. There is something we'd like to check on, though.
Yeah?
One of McGuire's informants was paroled 2 weeks ago. He served time with Cheney at Folsom.
You have anything to say?
Yeah. It's his idea Frank Cheney was the most hated man at Folsom. Most of the cons had given their right arm to cool him off.
What made him so popular?
Pretty much of a heel. Ran to the warden's office 3 times a week regular. Informed on the other cons every chance he got.
You figured some of them might want to even the score.
If they know anything, I'm pretty sure they'll talk.
You ought to try him. Their leads can't be any colder than what we got anyway.
You going to need any help, Mort?
No, McGuire and I can handle the questioning. We'll go up to Folsom tomorrow.
Okay. I don't think there's any argument. This thing needs a quick answer. Joe, you and Ben will have to push a lot harder and a lot faster. Cheney's robbed and killed before. Give him the chance, he'll do it again.
We've run down all the possible angles, Ed. We've checked every lead we could dig up.
There's one you missed.
Yeah?
The right one. Find it.
From the day Frank Cheney had been identified as the killer in the San Diego hold-up murder 4 months before, all of us realized the danger of another killing as long as he was loose. After 18 years in prison, Cheney had a gun and he had his freedom again. We knew he wouldn't give him up easily. Thursday, June 8th, Lieutenant Mort Gear and Sergeant Tony McGuire returned from Folsom Prison. After talking with most of the convicts who knew Cheney well during his prison days, they had a list of more than 40 leads to run down. Ben and I took half of them. We started checking. It went kind of slow, and the results were thin. After running down the first dozen leads, we'd found out nothing about the suspect that we didn't already know. Monday, June 12th. We checked with a John Strezak, supposedly one of Cheney's close friends up at Folsom. He'd been paroled before Cheney, and he was now working at a large commercial engraving firm down on East Main.
Yeah, I knew Cheney pretty well, Sergeant. Pretty well. Just a minute, will you? Yeah, that does it. I know why you're here, Sergeant. I can't help you.
You were pretty close to Cheney up at Folsom, weren't you, Strezak? Best friend?
Everybody was his best friend. Everybody could do him some good.
You haven't seen or heard from him since he got out, huh?
Nope, I don't want to. I learned fast.
How do you mean?
He's a bum, Sergeant. Some people are born that way. Tried to talk me into a break once. I didn't buy. I knew he'd run right to the warden with it. Some people are born that way, bums.
You think somebody might be hiding him out? Some of his pals. How about them?
If he's got any pals, I don't know him. I can tell you this, they didn't come out of Folsom.
Well, can you think of anything at all that might give us some kind of a lead on Cheney?
I wish I could, believe me. Now, I better get back on the job. Shop foreman. He's no better than Cheney. Bum.
All right, Strezak, thanks a lot. I'd like to know if you hear anything. I'm going to leave you one of our cards here.
Yeah, okay, Sergeant.
Hey, Strezak, what'd you go up for, anyhow?
Just what I'm doing.
Huh?
Engraving.
We kept at it, checking out the leads one by one, the same slow, dull routine that we'd been on for 4 months. It ate up valuable time, but it was necessary. You never know what a lead's worth until you check it out. During the past months, from the least promising sources, we'd uncovered a half a dozen bits of information about the suspect, none of them conclusive, but they helped point the way. We found out Cheney's favorite sport was sailing. Yacht clubs up and down the coast were contacted and asked to watch for him. We learned where Cheney got his eyeglasses, contact lenses. We went to the optician, got the prescription for them, and had copies of it distributed to all optical firms in the area. They got a request for lenses which matched those in Cheney's eyeglasses or contact lenses. They were to notify us. From a former college friend, we found out that the suspect was once treated for tuberculosis, and because of this, he drank only goat's milk. All the retailers in the area who sold goat's milk were contacted and alerted. We set up a system to check regularly all the mail received by relatives of both Cheney and his wife. Thursday, June 15th.
Hi. San Diego called while you were out. Mort here.
They come up with anything?
Fair. One lead told him Cheney learned the printing trade while he was up at Folsom. Knew the business well enough to work at it.
San Diego checking that out?
They alerted the Printers Union. We'll do the same up here. Picture and story on Cheney will be in the Union newspaper next week.
Yeah. And we dug up another bit on Cheney. We got it this morning.
What's that?
Well, instead of ordinary eyeglasses, Cheney's been known to wear contact lenses. You know, glass fits right over your eye.
Uh-huh.
Good chance he might be wearing them now. Kind of helped change his appearance.
We got the prescription for the lenses from Cheney's eye doctor. Got the information to all the optical firms in town.
Good.
Friday, man out here to see you.
Oh, okay, thank you, Dave.
All right, that's all. Better contact San Diego. Keep him posted.
Right, Skipper?
This gentleman here's yours. This is Sergeant Friday.
Yes, sir.
All right, Sergeant. You remember me, Vince Bertoli? You were in my place last month, the White House Grill.
Place down on Alameda?
Yeah, that's right. Block from Union Station. Both of you came in.
Yeah.
You had coffee and an omelet? You liked the
Sure,
omelet?
sure, yeah. What can we do for you, Bertoli?
Well, remember you were talking to me? You said you were looking for somebody. You left some pictures in this card of yours here.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I lost the pictures. I don't know where I lost them, but I kept your card. That's why I came to see you.
Why?
Well, as I say, I lost the pictures, but I still have an idea what they look like.
Have you seen either one of those people, the man or the woman?
Well, that's why I came to check with you. A week ago, one of my steady waitresses quit, and I hired this brunette with a hard luck story.
Mm-hmm.
Care for a stick of gum? Licorice flavor?
No.
Thank you.
Well, after a couple of days, I remembered that picture you gave me, and I thought she looked a little like it. That's why I kept an eye on her.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary?
You bet she never dates anybody. Not even me, and I'm the boss. Not ugly either.
Yeah?
She always claims she's got to get home. Never gives a reason. Says she lives alone.
Well, where does she live?
A couple of blocks from my place on North Jersey, I think. I checked the place where she does her shopping. They tell me she buys enough groceries for 3 people.
Mm-hmm. She still insists that she's living by herself, though.
Yeah, that's why I thought I'd better check with you. I lost the pictures, but I hung on to your card.
Will you take a look at this photograph, Bertoli?
Yeah. Sure, same one you gave me. Looks just like her, Mary Sloan.
Who?
Mary Sloan. That's her name, isn't it?
You want to turn that picture over?
Mrs. Frank Cheney.
Thursday, 4 p.m. Ben and I drove down to the White House Grill and had a cup of coffee. We got a good look at the waitress whom the owner, Vince Bertoli, suspected of being Mrs. Cheney. We left and waited outside in the car until 5 o'clock when the suspect came out. We followed her to a grocery store and from there to a rundown apartment building on Greystone Alley just off Temple. We waited a few minutes and then we followed her in. The tab on one of the mailboxes read, Mary Sloan, apartment 16. We went up.
Which one, Joe?
Number 16. It's down this way. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we better try the door, huh?
Who's there? Who is it?
Police officers, open up.
What do you want?
Open the door.
Just a minute.
Anybody else in here?
My brother. He's sick, sleeping in the next room. He can't be disturbed.
Come on, Ben.
You can't go in there. Honey, look out! Get out!
Joe, the window.
All right, get back inside here. Come on, you.
Let me go! Let go of me!
His arms, Ben. Grab it, will you? All right. Are you all right?
Yeah. Thought he broke my bridge work.
Yeah, you got clipped for nothing.
Hmm?
Not Cheney. We drove the man and the woman who identified herself as Mary Sloan back to the office where they are identified as fugitives from Miami, Florida. The man was wanted on charges of first-degree burglary. The woman was the accomplice. We turned the case over to Bunko Fugitive Detail. A little after 11 o'clock Friday morning, Ben got a tip that Cheney had been seen the night before at a small bar down near Fullerton. That's a Los Angeles suburb. He was supposed to be living in the area. We spent Friday, Saturday, and Sunday tracking it down. It went nowhere. On Monday, for the first time in 3.5 weeks, we had some time off. Half a day. I picked up policewoman Dorothy River and drove her out to the house for lunch. We had a barbecue out in the backyard.
Certainly a wonderful place you have here, Mrs. Friday. Beautiful garden.
Oh, thank you. It's a lot of work keeping it up. Roses didn't do well at all this year. Aphis, you know.
Much more spare ribs, Dorothy. The fire's just right now.
Oh, no, thanks, Joe. I've had plenty.
Care for another cup of coffee, Dorothy?
All right, thank you.
I'm glad you could come today, Dorothy. Joseph's been talking so much about you.
Oh?
You surprised me a little when I met you.
How's that?
How about some more ribs, Ma?
Oh, no, thank you, Joseph. I don't think you look at all like a policewoman. Most of them are rough-looking, aren't they?
Oh, no, I don't think so. They look like most women. Nothing much out of the ordinary about them.
Oh? Well, those times have certainly changed. We didn't have police women when I was a girl.
Probably could have used them.
Well, I don't know. I don't think we had so much crime then. times were much different. You seem so young for such work, Dorothy. Policewoman.
I'm 25, Mrs. Friday. Been with the department almost 2 years.
Oh, yes, you're a young girl. Joseph's 31, you know.
Yes, I know.
Hey, Ma, how about letting me gather you the dishes up?
Oh, no, that's all right, Joseph. You just sit there. Have your coffee. I'm used to this. Have to get used to housework when you're married. I'll bring out pie.
A wonderful dinner, Joe. Your mother's very sweet.
Yeah, real subtle, isn't she?
Oh, motherly instinct. Somebody has to look after you.
That's the phone, Dorothy. I better grab it. I'll be right back.
Okay. Joseph?
Never mind, Ma. Let me get it. Friday talking.
This is Walker, Joe. Check back in right away.
What do you got?
Spring and West Temple, the Second National Bank.
Yeah?
Frank Cheney just held it up.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of registered nurse Shirley Gelman of Los Angeles, California. You'll see her picture in leading magazines this week. Now, her actual signed statement.
When I go off duty, I appreciate a mild cigarette. Fatimas are extra mild. I can enjoy them more. I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, June 19th, 3 p.m. I went back to the office, picked up Ben and Captain Walker, and the three of us drove to the scene of the robbery at the corner of Spring and West Temple, the Second National Bank. Ricketts and Thaxter from robbery detail were already there questioning witnesses. We talked to the bank's vice president in charge at the time of the holdup, a Mr. Bronson. He had a welt on the right side of his head and was pretty badly shaken.
He had his hand in one of his coat pockets, and he walked straight over to me. It's the first thing he said. This is a holdup.
You're positive of the identification, Mr. Bronson?
I'm certain. This picture here, it's the man, all right. The others will tell you the same.
Who's that, Mr. Bronson?
The tellers. They all got a good look at him. No mistake.
Well, what happened after Cheney approached you?
He was very calm, very quiet.
Uh-huh.
He said, do exactly what I tell you. Call for help, and I'll kill you. He was calm all the way through it, just like it was an ordinary business with him.
Did he have you get the money for him?
No, he ordered me from back to the front counter there, and we went from cage to cage. Each time he had me say the same thing to the teller. This is a holdup. Give me all the currency you have. Don't call for help.
Now, how many tellers did he have you collect from?
5.
Mm-hmm.
This line along here, windows 1 to 5. Oh, my knees were shaking so hard I could barely walk. I kept wondering if one of the tellers might try to sound the alarm.
Yes, sir. What happened after he got the money?
He had me walk in front of him, down there to the side exit.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he hit me, I guess. Side of my head, you can see here where they bandaged it.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
How much money did he get, do you know?
No, not quite sure. More than 4,000. I can't help but think how lucky I am. That man's a killer, I'm certain of it.
Are you sure that we can't fix you up with a ride home?
No, I'll be all right, thank you. My wife's on the way down now.
Nick, can I see you fellas now?
Yeah, thanks, sir. Excuse us, will you, Bronson?
Yes, certainly.
Rounded up all the dope on the getaway car Cheney used.
Yeah?
At 2 this afternoon, he went to a used car lot up in Figueroa, about 8 blocks from here. Asked to be shown a late model Ford.
Yeah, go ahead.
Salesman took him for a demonstration ride. When he pulled up for an arterial, Cheney jabbed a gun at him and told him to get out. Salesman got out. Cheney drove off.
And 15 minutes later, he walked in here and pulled the robbery.
That's it. The bank tellers tabbed the same Ford as the getaway car. Broadcasted all points on the car. Nothing yet.
What time you got from there?
10 minutes before.
What time did the alert go out, Taxter?
2:45.
Everything covered?
Yeah, Union Station, both airports, the bus depots, they're all alerted. Roadblocks set up on the highways.
Since 2:45.
Just about.
And Cheney's somewhere in the city.
Find him.
6 p.m., the search went on. We called into the office and had them notify San Diego of the latest developments in the case. At 7 p.m., the weather started to cloud up. Still no sign of Cheney or the getaway car. At 8 o'clock, it started to rain. A few minutes past 10, a two-door Ford sedan was found abandoned on San Pedro Street near South Park. The license number matched that of Cheney's getaway car. The sedan was impounded and towed to a garage for fingerprinting. Ben called the office, and an emergency detail from Metropolitan Division was sent out to help in a house-to-house canvass of the neighborhood where the car had been found. By 4:30 the next morning, we got nowhere, so we decided to give it up until later in the day. At 6:30 a.m., we had poached eggs and coffee at an all-night drive-in. 7 a.m., it was still raining. We checked back in at the office.
I don't know. Seems like every time we have to work late, it's going to rain.
You got any of those little white tablets in your locker? At breakfast, any indigestion?
Yeah, I think I got a few there. That reminds me, how'd the dinner come off yesterday? Two of them get along all right?
Oh, all right. You know how it is. Ma had her usual few things to say.
Oh?
Dorothy handled it pretty good. Good sense of humor.
Yeah, nice-looking girl. Sensible.
Hiya.
What's say, Earl?
Do any good?
No, not much.
Phone message in the book for you. You're supposed to call as soon as you get in.
Hempstead 4219. No name?
No, you're supposed to call the number, that's all.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, how's the new house, Earl?
Pretty good. Takes a lot of money. Got the forms in for the patio. I'm going to pour the cement this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Got the place fenced off yet?
Not yet, no. Those pickets cost money.
Fellas are telling me that you're doing all the work yourself, huh?
Me and the brother-in-law, yeah. Cost a lot of money, a new house.
Sounds good, Joe.
Who was it?
Frank Cheney's grandfather.
Yeah?
Says to come over right away.
7:30 a.m. It was still raining. Ben and I drove out to the older section of the Wilshire district to the Cheney mansion. It represented one part of the suspect's life that we could never figure. As a child and later as a young man, Frank Cheney had had every advantage and comfort that a millionaire father could buy for him. Yet for some reason, he'd settled on a career of crime. 7:45 a.m., Ben and I were shown into the main hallway of the Cheney home by the butler. He recognized us from previous visits. He took our hats and coats and then led us up the staircase to the master bedroom at the far end of the second floor. We found Cheney's 82-year-old grandfather propped up in a four-poster bed. His face was gray and sunken. There was a nurse in a white starched uniform standing by.
You can go, nurse. Go on.
I'll be outside if you need me, Mr. Cheney.
Yes, yes.
You, have some information for us, Mr. Cheney?
Of course. I called. Sit down. Sit down.
Thank you, sir.
That hold-up yesterday, the bank robbery. I know all about it.
Has Frank contacted you?
That's like the police. Get right to the point.
Has he contacted you, sir?
Yes. Hand me that glass of water, please.
Oh, yeah. There you are.
Thank you. No, leave it on the table there.
Oh, yes.
When Frank got out of prison last year, he came to see me. I offered him one more chance. I told him if he decided to earn his way, he'd have all the help I could give him. He said he would.
Yes, sir.
I was a fool like everyone else. I believed him.
Any idea where Frank is now?
I gave him everything it was possible to give him. He wrecked the family, his father's life, my life. Everything he touched, he ruined.
You know where he is now, sir?
He telephoned me day before yesterday. He was going away, Central America.
Why didn't you notify us?
When he was going away, I thought it'd be better. We've had enough notoriety, newspaper stories.
How was he going to get to South America, sir?
Swedish ship. He's going to work his way. He called from San Pedro. He's staying in some hotel there.
You don't know the name?
Find him, take him away. Bury him someplace.
Okay, Joe.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Cheney.
Sergeant.
Yes, sir?
Frank will have a gun. He'll try to use it.
Yes, sir.
Kill him.
9 a.m. Ben and I went back to the office and put in a call to the Swedish Vice Consulate on South Spring Street. They told us that 3 days before, a man answering Cheney's description had signed on the Swedish motor ship Southern Cross as a member of the engine room crew. We picked up Sergeants Thaxter and Davis and drove down to San Pedro. The Southern Cross was still taking on cargo when we got there. We showed Cheney's mugshot to the first mate.
You're the American. Cameron, that's him. He signed on this trip.
Is he aboard the ship now?
Oh, he's right up there on deck. He was there. I guess he went below.
What if you take us to him, please?
All right. Lindgren!
Ja?
Ta över kommand en liten stund. All right, this way. The gangway, mind you.
Better watch it, man.
Yeah.
Up forward. Through here.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you better stay behind here, sir. We'll take him.
What's that?
Might be a little trouble here. Do you want to stay behind us?
All right. He must stay in the engine room. Straight ahead, then turn to your left. Down the companion way.
Right, thank you.
Come on, now watch your step, man.
Joe. I'm It's on.
Come on. Spotted him. All right, Cheney, hold it.
He's making a break.
Come on. He's going topside. Hustle. Come on, up the ladder. Look out, Joe! Give it up, Cheney.
He's going for the gangway.
Down, Ben. Yeah. All right, stop him. Come on.
Yeah. Through the shoulder.
Yeah. Bumped his head when he fell. Better get the cuffs on him.
Yeah. Where'd everybody disappear to?
I guess you didn't notice when we came aboard.
Huh?
Well, look topside. See? Red flag.
Oh, yeah. Taking on fuel, huh?
There's some of the cargo right over there.
Oh.
High explosives.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, City and County of San Diego, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Extra Mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Frank Bertram Cheney was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He is now awaiting execution in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman is knifed to death in her home. The body bears the mark of inhuman attack. The killer escapes. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 29th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Blaine Steed. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the interrogation room. It was 11:23 p.m. when they got to room 42. Homicide. Hi, Lorraine.
Hello, Joe.
Like to type this up for me? The dead body report.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Joe?
How you doing?
They bring Palmer in yet?
He's in the interrogation room. Captain's with him.
What's his story?
He claims he had nothing to do with it. You contact any of the boys' relatives?
Says he hasn't got any in town. It was just him and his mother.
You called Juvenile Hall, didn't you?
Yeah, they'll look after him for the time being. Pretty big shock for a kid.
Yeah. Did you get anything out of him?
Harry and I have been talking to him. It's just starting to make sense. You want to lend a hand?
Sure.
We're going to the beach tomorrow, my mother and I. She had a day off and we were going to the beach. That's all I know. That's all she knows.
Harry?
Hi. You want to give it a try?
Yeah. All right, Robert. Come on, son. It's going to be all right now. We need your help, Robert. Think you could answer a few questions for us?
How about a bite to eat, son? Can I get you something?
No, I'm hungry. I'm okay.
That's the stuff. Well, here, take it. It's a clean handkerchief.
Yeah. Well, you're the cop that drove me down here, aren't you?
That's right.
I'm not going back to the house.
You won't have to, son.
I'm never going back to that place.
All right.
Oh, it was awful.
Could you start from the beginning for us, Bob, and just take it easy? Tell us what you know.
Okay. Think I could have a Coke?
I'll pick up a couple. Be right back.
Right here. Thanks, Harry.
Well, all I know is I left the house about 7:30. Mom gave me the money to go to a show.
Was she alone in the house when you left?
Yeah, that's right. We had dinner and then I went to the show.
You usually go to the show on school night, son?
No, but Mom asked me if I wanted to go. She gave me the money. Double feature. She told me to stay for both pictures.
Mm-hmm. She usually tell you that?
No, she always said to just stay for one picture. She didn't want me coming home so late.
Was she expecting anybody to visit her? I mean, after you'd gone?
She didn't say so. She just told me to stay for both pictures, that's all.
What time did the movie let out?
Almost 11 o'clock. Pretty late, so I went straight home. Mom was in the bedroom. She was on the floor. There was this knife, this big knife.
What'd you do then, son?
I ran outside, hollered. Wallace's came over from next door. I went inside and looked, and they called the cops.
That knife you saw in the bedroom.
There was blood on it, all over it. It was terrible.
Did you ever see the knife before?
Yeah. Yeah, Roy gave it to my mom last year. It's a bowler knife.
Who is this Roy?
Mom's boyfriend. One of them. He's in the Navy.
Was he at your house tonight?
I told you, it was just Mom and I. Roy had a fight with Mom about 2 weeks ago. He said he didn't like her having other boyfriends, and they had a fight.
They argued, is that what you mean?
Yeah. And once Roy slapped my mother.
Mm-hmm. You want one of these, Joe?
No, thanks, Harry.
Okay. There's your Coke, Robert.
Oh, yeah.
Son, did you know most of your mother's friends?
Most of them, yeah.
Can you think of any of them who might have wanted to hurt your mother?
I don't know. Roy Palmer, maybe. He was mad at her. He's the only one I can think of. I don't know. I don't want to think about it anymore.
All right, son. We won't bother you anymore tonight. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Ben.
Mm-hmm.
You want to follow through with juvenile hall, see if the boy's taken care of.
Okay. You going to be in the interrogation room?
Yeah, I got a few more questions for Roy Palmer.
Right. Check you later.
Okay.
Crime lab back yet, Friday?
No, not yet, Captain. Just talked with the Reynolds boy.
Yeah?
Can't believe anything that kid tells you. He's a liar. He hates me.
You give him reason to hate you, Palmer?
The kid's a liar, that's all.
You were his mother's boyfriend. He says 2 weeks ago you had a fight with her. Did you slap her?
All right, I slapped her. That don't make it murder. I wasn't near that house last night, and I didn't kill her.
We found your knife in her bag.
Huh?
A bolo knife, bone handle.
It's not mine. I gave it to her a year ago for a present. Didn't even know she still had it. Look, why do you have to pick on me?
Because you had a motive and you haven't got an alibi.
What about all those bums you used to run around with? Why don't you ask them for alibis?
When we find them, we'll ask them.
Do you know any of them, Palmer? The other men that she went out with?
How'd I know? The only time she ran around was when I was on sea duty.
And how'd you know she was running around?
Friends of mine. I saw her out with these guys.
I get it. Interrogation room, Friday.
Lee Jones, Joe. Just got back from the Dixon house.
Anything?
Off to a fast start. Leighton Prince checked the murder weapon, that knife. Dusted the handle.
Yeah?
Fingerprints, perfect set.
Captain Steed and I took the suspect, Roy Palmer, down the hall and had his fingerprints taken. At the same time, across the street in the crime lab, a set of fingerprints were lifted from the weapon which had taken the life of Mrs. Betty Dixon. The 2 sets of prints were checked and rechecked. They didn't match. Every object in the murder house was gone over for fingerprints and further evidence. Roy Palmer's fingerprints were on none of them. He was released pending further investigation. The only suspect in one of the most savage murders in the history of the city was free. The next morning, Captain Steed and I met with Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
How about the dead woman's son? You talk to him again?
Well, Romero's with him now. He's taking down a list of all the people that his mother knew, friends, neighbors, everybody.
No luck yet with a set of fingerprints?
No, we've got no record on him. Checking them through Washington, we ought to get a kickback pretty soon.
Set of prints and a piece of envelope. That's the physical evidence, huh?
Yeah. One of the top corners off an envelope. It had a postmark on it, Sonoma.
Sonoma. Tie in with anything yet?
No, not so far. Might turn up when we start checking the victim's friends.
They posted the body this morning. I guess you saw this coroner's report.
Yeah, I did.
I don't have to tell you, you're not after an ordinary killer.
23 knife wounds.
Revenge motive, maybe.
Yeah. The reaction of the dead woman's neighbors, that's what's got me stopped.
No one heard a thing?
Mitchell and Didion are still covering the neighborhood. Haven't found anyone yet who saw or heard anything unusual.
Well, I can't buy it. A woman isn't just cut down like that without some kind of a commotion. Besides, the homes in that neighborhood are fairly close together.
Shouldn't take much to make yourself heard from one house to the other.
No sign of robbery or burglary?
No, according to the boy, the house is intact. Nobody touched anything.
It leaves you with the boyfriend angle. Lover's quarrel.
We're stuck with it, yeah.
Hi, Chief.
Romero? Come in.
How'd you make out?
Better than I thought. Boy was over most of his shop this morning.
Did he talk?
5 pages of names and addresses. He gave me all of them.
Well, how about that boyfriend angle?
Oh, about half a dozen names. Seems the mother had quite a social life since the boy's father died.
You confirmed the boy's story about going to the movies?
Yeah, it checks out.
Pretty nice kid, considering the environment he's been raised in.
How about those names, Ben? Any of them list Sonoma as their hometown?
No, I don't think so. Let me check here.
Okay.
No. Huh? No, none of them.
All right, you better start digging into that list. Postmark may tie in later. Meantime, you still have that set of fingerprints.
No chance for a mistake there. When you reach the right men, those prints will connect him with the killing.
That makes it simple for you. Prince will tell us who he is. You got only one answer to dig for.
Yeah.
Where he is.
Thursday, September 30th, 11 a.m. We started checking the list of the murdered woman's friends through R&I for any possible criminal record. It's usually the case that a major crime rates headline space twice. When the crime is committed, when the criminal is apprehended. Between the two, more than often, there's a space of weeks and months, sometimes even years, in which the police officer goes through the monotonous, undramatic business of checking files, asking questions, sifting and sorting leads and evidence until he finally reaches the criminal. For a news story, it's pretty dull material, but it proves out the contention of most working detectives. You don't catch criminals with headlines. Monday, October 4th, we checked with a Miss Lucille Dana, a counter clerk at a little market out on Crenshaw.
Terrible thing. I've been away on my vacation. Heard about it when I got home yesterday.
You were pretty good friends with Betty Dixon. That right, Miss Dana?
Yeah, pretty close. Oh, excuse me a minute. I'll take care of this customer.
Yeah, all right.
Is there anything, sir?
No, 2 bags of them jelly beans, please.
All right.
Okay, that's all.
Oh, that's 19, 87, 9, 87. This is not marked. Just a minute. Tommy?
Yeah?
Number 2 corned beef. How much?
Just a minute. 67.
Thanks. $2.17 out of 5. $2.17 to 20, 25, 50, $3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just can't get over it, Sergeant. Poor Betty.
We understand that you used to go out with the Dixon woman, Miss Dana. Do you know most of her close friends?
Well, most of her men friends. We used to double date a lot together.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if you'd take a look at this list of names that we have here.
All right. Let's see. Mm-hmm.
Now, does that about cover all her boyfriends, all that you knew of anyway?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Tony Morse, Galbraith, Al O'Neill. You don't have Floyd down here.
Who was that? Floyd who?
I never did know what his last name was. He used to take both of us out, Betty and I. Seemed to like her quite a bit.
When's the last time she was out with him, do you know?
Oh, 5 or 6 months ago at least. Kind of strange.
How do you mean?
Floyd. Jealous, you know. Hot temper. Said he was Spanish, but he had a light complexion. Oh, excuse me, please.
Sure.
Yes, sir?
A pack of that mint gum and some lighter flints, please.
Yes, sir. 25. Thank you.
All right.
Could you describe this Floyd for us, Miss Dana?
Well, he was kind of fresh and conceited in some ways. He was attractive. A lot of fun.
How about his physical appearance, weight and height?
About 6 feet, I'd say. Nice build. 180 pounds, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Dark hair, dark brown eyes. Good dancer.
How'd he and Miss Dixon get along?
Oh, I don't think he did. Floyd and Betty used to fight all the time, but she used to fight with Roy Palmer, too. I don't think Floyd did it.
Is he in town now, do you know?
No, I don't. As I say, last time I saw him was 6 months ago.
Would you know if Mrs. Dixon saw him recently?
She did. She didn't tell me.
You have no idea, then, where we could get in touch with this Floyd?
Well, no, I don't. He's from up north originally.
Is that so?
Yeah, Sonoma.
Ben and I went back to the office and got off a teletype to the Sonoma Police Department along with a description of the suspect named Floyd. Then we checked with the 16-year-old son of the murdered woman. He remembered the man called Floyd, and essentially his description of the suspect checked out with that given us by his mother's friend, Lucille Dana. 3 p.m. We met with Lieutenant Harry Didion and Captain Steed.
You want to fill him in, Didion?
Finally got in touch with the dead woman's next-door neighbors. Name's Conroy.
Get anything out of him?
They seem to be the only ones who heard anything the night of the murder.
What they had to say?
Let's see. Yeah, they saw Mrs. Dixon's son, Robert, leave the house about 7:30 the night of the murder. And nothing till 8:30.
Yeah.
They heard loud pounding on the back door of the Dixon home. The door finally opened. They heard an angry woman's voice invite the person in.
A man?
Yeah.
Any description?
Not much. He was tall, good build.
Not much, Jack.
Go on.
Neighbors said it was quiet then for about an hour. And they heard a woman crying. Said it sounded like Mrs. Dixon.
They make out any of the conversation?
I got it right here. Yeah. About 9:30, they heard Mrs. Dixon, a lot of loud talking. She said, "Why don't you kill me then, Floyd? Put me out of my misery."
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
They said it was quiet between 9:30 and 10. And they heard something that sounded like the thud of a body falling on the floor, a piece of furniture overturned.
No screams for help.
Funny, but the neighbors say no. The only other thing they heard was Mrs. Dixon. Here's a quote. She said, "Do a good job, finish me off."
None of the neighbors thought of calling the police.
Well, they told me they didn't want to get mixed up in a family fight. None of their business. She had quite a few men visitors.
That's all of it, huh?
No, one more thing. I guess this is what made the neighbors think everything was all right. About 10:15, they heard a man's voice, couldn't make out any words. Then they heard Mrs. Dixon say, "Please kiss me goodbye."
Mm-hmm.
A few minutes after that, they heard someone leave for the back door.
They see him?
Not very good. I think it was the same man they saw go in. Pretty tall, good build. That's it.
Where does it leave us?
Pretty weird.
I'll buy that.
Oh, I don't know.
If she was supposed to be a sane woman, she'd have to be pretty drunk to ask him out to kill her.
The man would have to be pretty drunk to take her up on it.
Why the killer used that bolo knife on the victim? That piece of envelope we found by the body.
Yeah, it was postmarked Sonoma. There's a state mental hospital up there.
Just a hunch.
Maybe we're dealing with a maniac. 4 p.m. Monday. R&I could give us nothing because of the meager description. Ben and I checked out of the office and went over to the state building to the Department of State Institutions. First, we checked the name Floyd through the files, using it as a last name, then as a first name. We failed to connect. Either the names didn't fit the description of the suspect, or they were elderly men still confined to the institution at Sonoma. We checked through the files using Floyd as a middle name. We came up with 2 recent parolees from Sonoma. Both matched the description almost perfectly. Both had the middle name of Floyd. We checked out the first one, Charles Floyd Johansson. We found out that he'd been returned to Sonoma almost a month before. The second parolee still had his freedom. We took a set of his fingerprints back to the office and had them checked out with a set of prints found on the murder weapon.
How's it shape up, George?
Richard Floyd Coleman. That the right name?
Yeah. Any make?
He's your killer.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of skating star Helen Davidson of the 1951 Ice Capades. This is her actual signed statement.
Recently, on tour with the Ice Capades, I've noticed more and more people smoking Fatima. You know why? If you like king-size cigarettes, you're bound to prefer the one that's extra mild. I know I do. And I agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
More and more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, October 4th, 7 p.m. We got on an APB and a radiogram on Richard Floyd Coleman. We checked DMV for possible auto ownership. From his record, we found that he had been confined twice to the state mental hospital at Sonoma. The first time for a period of 2 years, the second time for 14 months. Hospital files showed us that on both occasions he had been committed by his older sister, Evelyn Coleman, his only living relative. Her address was listed as 5640 Upper Terrace, an apartment court in the East Wilshire district. We drove out to question her. In one of her apartment windows was a hand-lettered sign, seamstress, dresses made to order, Evelyn Marie Coleman. She turned out to be a tall, quiet girl in her 30s, gray eyes, brown hair. She worked on the sewing machine while we talked with her.
I'm sorry to be so rude, Sergeant, but I have to have this blouse ready by 2 this afternoon. Miss Tyler's coming to call for it.
That's perfectly all right, Miss Coleman.
Exactly. What was it you wanted to know?
It's about your brother, Richard.
Oh, anything wrong?
No, we're just checking, that's all. We'd like to talk to him.
What about?
Routine check. We understand he spent some time up at Sonoma.
Yes, he did. Richard's had a hard time of it. Doctors don't seem to know the trouble. Poor Richard, he's so mixed up.
You're his only living relative?
Yes, I am. Folks died when we were both young. Practically raised Richard myself.
Have you seen your brother lately, Miss Coleman?
No, not lately. Why?
You have any idea where we might contact him?
Well, no, I don't. You see, he travels around the state a good deal.
Oh, is he working?
No. Well, but he writes from time to time. Oh, what was it you wanted to see him about, Sergeant?
With just routine questioning. We'd like to talk to him.
Oh.
Where was he when you last heard from him, Miss Coleman?
Well, couldn't you tell me what you want to see him about?
We'd just like to question him, that's all.
Well, what about? You can tell me.
Is your brother in the city now?
Oh, I don't know. I just got back. I haven't heard from him in 2 weeks. Almost 3 weeks.
Does he usually stay here when he's in town?
Well, sometimes, yes. Is Floyd in some kind of trouble?
Is that the name he usually goes by, Floyd?
Well, most of his friends call him Floyd. Why?
You think he might be staying with one of his friends here in the city?
He might be. I don't know. Look, Sergeant, if Floyd's in trouble, you can tell me. I've seen him through lots of trouble before.
Not this kind, miss.
Women? Oh. I wish there was something I could do.
Where was he when you last heard from him?
He was in Santa Barbara. He wrote me. Please, Sergeant, why do you have to see Floyd? Excuse me.
Yeah, sure.
Hello? Oh, yes, Miss Tyler. Uh-huh. Well, maybe just a few minutes late. Would 2:30 be all right? Oh, fine, thank you. All right, Miss Tyler, bye. I'll have to hurry. Mrs. Tyler's blouse.
Sure, you go right ahead.
I really don't make much of a dressmaker, but I'm saving up. I'm going to buy a place in the valley farther out. Be fine for Floyd and me. Be awfully good for him. Floyd has to get away from excitement. He's awfully nervous.
Say, Miss Coleman.
Sergeant?
Are those your brother's suitcases in the alcove back there?
Yes, they are. They've been there for a month. I keep his odds and ends for him.
I'm sure he hasn't been here in the past month.
Oh, yes, I'm sure. Please, Sergeant, why don't you tell me the truth? I've been through this before. This trouble with Floyd. What is it this time?
It's pretty bad.
Well, what is it?
We want to ask him about a murder.
Oh, no, he wouldn't do that. You sure it was Floyd?
We'd like to talk to him.
Floyd. It didn't have to happen. I was going to buy a place in the valley. Floyd would have liked it there. I was going to take care of him out in the valley.
Do you have any idea where we could find him, Miss Coleman?
No, I don't. I don't know where he is. Santa Barbara, that's the last I heard. I've been worried about him.
If he was in the city, would he come here to stay, ma'am?
Well, he did before, yes, but I don't know about now.
Does he have a car?
No, not that I know of. No, I don't know what he's living on. He doesn't have any money. Who was the woman?
Mrs. Dixon. Seems to know your brother pretty well.
Oh, boy.
You better grab that, Ben.
Yeah, all right. Hello. Yes. That's all right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mrs. Tyler, she'll pick up her blouse tomorrow.
Ben and I left Evelyn Coleman's place and went back to the office. A stakeout was placed on her apartment. 2 days went by. Nothing happened. Despite the fact that the suspect's sister had promised to cooperate fully with us in locating her brother, a team of men was assigned to follow her wherever she went as insurance against any possible slip-up. As far as we were concerned, no precaution was out of reason. A maniac was on the loose in the city, the same maniac who had murdered the Dixon woman. He'd done it once, and if the urge was there, he'd do it again. We sweated out the next 3 days. On the afternoon of the 6th day, we got an urgent call from one of the parole officers in the State Institutions Department, a Miss Gertrude Vaughn. Ben and I went over and checked with her.
Call came in about 20 minutes ago, Sergeant. Man's voice.
What do you have to say?
He wanted to talk to me about the Betty Dixon case. Seemed nervous.
You say you know anything about it?
I didn't want to frighten him off asking too many questions. I got the idea he had something he wanted to get off his mind.
Well, did he mention anything specific? I mean, names, places, anything like that?
No, but I got the impression he knew quite a bit about the case.
What else?
He promised he'd be here by 4 o'clock. Said he'd be ready to talk.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's 2:45 now. All right, Ben.
Okay.
Pull up a chair. We waited. 3:15, 3:30, 3:45. No sign of the anonymous caller. 4 p.m. Still no sign. We waited. At 4:30, the office door opened and a tall, thin girl with brown hair came in and walked straight toward the desk of Parole Officer Gertrude Vaughn. We saw Miss Vaughn motion the girl across the room toward us. It was Evelyn Coleman.
Sergeant.
Miss Coleman?
How are you?
I know where Floyd is. I'll take you to him.
4:35 p.m. Ben and I left the state building with Evelyn Coleman, got in our car, and drove north across the city, according to her directions, until we got on Highway 66. We continued driving north out of the city. Evelyn Coleman sat quiet in the back seat, looking at her hands folded in her lap. Except for directions, she said nothing. Approximately 3 miles out of the city, she directed us off onto a county highway. We drove east for a few miles, then we turned north onto an unpaved road lined with eucalyptus trees. We'd gone a little less than a mile when she directed us to pull up.
We can walk the rest of the way.
Okay.
It's not far.
All right.
This way.
Your brother been out here all this time?
He didn't tell me. He called this morning. He's supposed to get himself up.
What happened?
I don't know. He's worse now, I think. I could hardly understand him on the phone. Doesn't make sense.
Is he alone now?
He was when I left him. We go across this field here.
Okay.
Yeah. Is your brother armed?
No.
Are they over there?
Yeah. Shacked by the trees. You'll see he's treated right.
Yes, ma'am. We'll see to it.
Evelyn? Evie?
I brought them in, Floyd. They'll take you back.
I'm Richard Floyd Coleman. I want to tell you I killed Betty Dixon.
All right, Ben.
I wanted to marry her. She didn't want it. She dared me to kill her. I grabbed the knife.
We can talk about it later, huh?
She was lying on the floor. She said, "Kiss me goodbye." I held on to her. She seemed to go to sleep.
We have to go, Floyd.
You tell him, Evie, I loved her. You tell him that.
Yeah, I will.
She dared me to kill her. She said I didn't have the nerve. She asked me to.
Yeah, all right. Come on.
Try to tell him that at the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 4th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. To prove a suspect's guilt or innocence, as in tonight's case, the working detective spends many a long hour with the man in question. In the interrogation room, the crime lab, with his friends, his enemies, gets to know his man well. And so with a cigarette. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, get to know Fatima. Live with it a while. Pack after pack, they're extra mild. Get to know the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Richard Floyd Coleman was examined by 6 psychiatrists appointed by the court and was found to be criminally insane. He was committed to the state mental hospital at Mendocino for an indefinite period of time. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Sarah Berner is delightful in Sarah's Private Caper, next on NBC.